Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight Entertainment. This is the podcast that brings you everything coming out of the world of movies and more. And I'm joined today by my good friends Peter Martinez and David Francisco, of course, here. And we have quite a show for you today in what is perhaps the most filled show in quite some time. We have a lot to really discuss today when it comes to where the trajectory of the movie world is heading this next month with so many new releases. Reviews have dropped for the new Avatar already. We've seemingly have a clear front runner for the next Best Picture, and of course the main event here, 4 big reviews on some widely talked about films. This week we're going to get into Rental Family, Hamnet, Wake Up Dead Man, and of course, as I like to call it, Guillermo Del Toro's Frankenstein, although I'm not sure why that wasn't in the title. To kind of pair nicely with the previous film he made, which was Guillermo Del Toro's Pinocchio. Anyway, that is our show today on Red Spotlight number 520. I'm holding for the boos and the sneers. So that is where we are today. I trust that both of you that are joining me today have had a good day. I will not waste anybody's time with any needless pleasantries from the both of you, because in the past it's always been a waste of time. So let's go ahead and get started with literally what's happening right now in the world of movies. Peter and I, we've kind of been talking about it for a couple of weeks now about like what we believe is the film to beat, as in like what is the stand-in for the front runner for Best Picture, which is literally what, you know, everything that we talk about revolves around. And I feel like it's really been no secret that it's been one battle after another the entire time, and it's seemingly going to be that the entire way throughout. Just this week, one battle after another, the film by Paul Thomas Anderson. By the way, that is Peter Martinez you are seeing, not just a bunch of clumped hair, because apparently somebody's more interested in looking at a phone, but okay. Here are the awards that one battle after another has won.
They just shot the president
this week. Gotham Film Awards, the National Board of Review, Atlanta Film Critics, and the New York Film Critics Circle. And speaking of, I believe the National Board of Review has also awarded Paul Thomas Anderson Best Director. At this point, does anybody here on the dais have any kind of, I don't know, feeling that it's just not going to happen for this movie? It seems, certainly at this point from my vantage point, pretty undeniable.
I think there's a very good chance that it, not saying that it will happen, but there's a good chance, because that's the way these things go, that it will burn out early and Marty Supreme will sweep in and steal everything.
That's a great call. I would also say keep an eye out for that to also happen with, I'm seeing some stirs and murmurs about Hamnet. Because Hamnet also came out of the festival circuit with some great buzz, not necessarily for the Best Picture race, but for the Best Actress race. And I'm feeling, I don't know how, if this will materialize, but I do feel, again, there is a danger that you're speaking to, Peter, that if you get, you know, if you're out of the gate and you're running with certain things, people can get bored of you very quickly. I feel like there's no greater example than La La Land, right? Because that one was literally winning everything. And again, we have the actual Gold Derby Oscar people who have talked to Oscar voters from that race many years ago, and they've said it many times, and it was clear as day. The only reason La La Land lost was because people got sick of it winning. So before anybody, you know, wants to go and claim that Moonlight is a superior film, go fuck yourself. And then also go check your competency by the door, because of course that's not really, when it comes to quality, that's not really relevant when it comes to the Academy Awards, of course. And I have to say, as far as what this is going to, you know, be like this next year, I do mourn the Academy embarrassing themselves further. I wish it would have happened, only for me to just be like, cackling evilly in the background if they had actually done what they wanted to do, which was give Emilia Perez Best Picture. Because that was like for sure gonna happen.
Penis and vagina.
Exactly. And thanks to Carla Sofia Gascon's tweets, it was apparently too toxic for them to touch. Which is, I'm sure, for their part, like, damn it, we were gonna vote for it, Carla, and then what did you do to us? Anyway, Marty Supreme is, I think, a really good dark horse, because it's just, it is that kind of movie. Do you think that will happen, Peter, or is that just something you're saying that could happen?
I think it could happen just because Marty Supreme isn't out yet, and people are talking about how good it is in the same similar levels that they talked about one battle after another. So I could see them. It's the new shiny toy. It opens up a lot closer to voting.
Christmas Day.
Yeah, I can see a switch happening, especially if one battle's winning a shit ton beforehand.
Yes. Of course that would happen, and we also have to factor this. I personally love the film and adore it, so don't count on that to win anything really when it comes to the Academy Awards. So
that's actually the real deal breaker.
That's the real deal breaker. So of course, right now one battle after another is following a similar trajectory as Oppenheimer in that so far this early in the race, it's the front runner and it's cleaning up the awards it needs to maintain that status. Of course, I wasn't as enthusiastic about Oppenheimer winning, so of course that definitely ran away with it, of course. But whenever I'm enthusiastic about something, count on it to get stabbed somewhere along the way and then it not win it at the end of the day. So you have to make sure we have to factor that in as well. What Marty Supreme has going in his favor is it very well could win Best Actor for Timothy. That's a big boost.
I think that one's a given.
Yeah. Well, I think it is, although I don't know. Some part of me wonders: are they actually going to give it to him, or are they going to make him wait 10 more years? I think this one would be it, but then again, I felt last year it would have been the time to do it as well. I don't know. And then of course, what one battle also has going for it is PTA. I think seems to, regardless of whether or not one battle wins Best Picture, it seems PTA is on track to win his first Oscar for Best Director. So there's that. Here are some other films that may or may not be in contention. Just a National Board of Review, which, to be clear, it does not have much carryover with the actual voter base, but it's just to throw out there, like, what is the feeling in the air? Here are the other movies: Avatar: Fire and Ash, F1, Frankenstein, Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, as Peter mentioned, Rental Family, Sinners, Train Dreams, Wake Up Dead Man, A Knives Out Mystery, and Wicked for Good. One of those, but the rest, okay, interesting. Not all of these are going to be nominated for Best Picture, and there are certainly other titles that are not included here that definitely will, I assume, sentimental value, and I believe it was an accent, whatever other international film there would be, you have to count on that being in there as well. But yeah, that's kind of where it is. A lot of people who I'm following still seem to be under the impression that Wicked for Good is going to rack up nominations. Do we still seem to be under that impression? I mean, I never was, but do we? I don't. I mean,
who fucking knows?
Like, is it? I mean, I don't think Cynthia's going to get nominated again. I doubt that would happen. Maybe Ariana, but like, is it really going to get a picture nomination?
It shouldn't. That would be embarrassing if it does.
Like, hey, I get the National Board of Review, who are the nominees that I just read, nominating Wicked for Good, because last year, if you didn't remember, this same group of people gave John Chu Best Director.
Idiots.
Which, even bigger idiots, though, The Critics' Choice Awards, who I hate unbelievably because they're such fucking pussies, and they're so like slavishly pathetic. By the way, just this year, they renamed their Best Ensemble award to Best Ensemble / Best Casting, which is befuddling because it's not the same thing. But they renamed it just so that they could go along with the new category that the Oscars have adopted, which was Best Casting. So again, makes no sense, but that's what they do. And they are, as Grace Randolph says every week, we're going first this year. We're going first this year. Great, whatever.
Let her be happy.
The same group of people, by the way, the Critics' Choice Awards, who did they give Best Director to last year? Popular. Yeah, they gave it to him. So,
that's really bad. That makes me think very little of critics. If that's
yeah. So, hey, they're gonna go first this year. They're gonna set the framework. I believe it's the very first day of January. I don't know when. And then the following week there'll be the Golden Globes, which are far superior in every way, shape, or form. And there always will be. Especially because they actually have talent on their show, and at least in these last 2 years, they've been going out of their way to actually give some great variety of nominees, and also select some great winners as well. So I don't know, Wicked for Good. I don't know what the public perception seems to be. I just feel like it's fizzing out. I don't believe this film is all that well liked ultimately, and I have even deeper suspicions that this is just not going to materialize when it comes to like actual critics groups keeping it in with nominations. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's going to basically pull a Wakanda Forever and like get into like the costumes and the production design for sure. But I just don't see it really doing anything big. I even don't see it winning anything at Golden Globes. I feel like, if I'm not mistaken, WB put where did they put One Battle after another? I think they put One Battle in comedy, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to clean that up. So Wicked's not really going to win much of anything, which fine. I mean, whatever. But the other mystery is, and this is actually quite interesting, and I think this might wake you two up since you two seem to be falling asleep at this point. Is the first reactions, and I think I don't know if full reviews have dropped just yet, but we've had a wide range of reactions. A huge screening took place a couple of days ago for James Cameron's new movie, which happens to be what he calls the end of the Avatar trilogy. Evidently, or I guess the end of the Avatar saga, and apparently that 4 and 5, if they ever get made, are a part of a new saga, whatever that is. And I mean, the reviews are basically what you would expect a James Cameron movie to receive. I don't know, did you two get a chance to look over those reactions?
No. I don't watch a lot of reviews for a movie specifically that I'm like really hyped for. So but I can guess that I'm sure people are just hyped about the visuals, the action of it, and maybe somewhat of the story.
A lot of praise of the visuals, a lot of praise of the action, a lot of annoying critiques about how, this was a continuation of the story.
Okay.
And how apparently that's a cardinal sin. And that needs to be brought up as some kind of... I mean, I can understand in maybe perhaps they were saying this is just the same movie as 2, but like more of it.
I hadn't realized that they had split up the story for the second one and turned it into the second and third one. I guess I hadn't realized that. I saw an interview where James Cameron said they had done that originally when they were going over the scripts. They were going over 3 scripts, and it turned into 4 when they set out originally. And I guess that's noticeable. That's like the biggest complaint, is that it feels like the second half to the second one, rather than
that
a whole new thing.
That sounds kind of weird because I feel like from the trailers,
Is
like
that really a complaint? If that's your biggest complaint, this must be pretty damn good. That's what I think. It's like, really? That's your complaint?
Well, I mean, it just sounds weird though because this third one seems completely. I mean, not like when in the air that they're at with the kind of what they're focusing with the new character seems like a different story. Like I can understand that. I can understand the same thing in that we shouldn't be fighting each other. We shouldn't, you know, I know that one part of the trailer is like you can't live with hate in your heart or something like that, which is kind of the same thing as what the other ones are doing. But I would find that weird that it's very noticeable that this was split, or that it's very clear that should have been a continuation of the second one, even though it's very clear that one was based in water, this one's based like near a volcano, and I just don't see how the correlation.
Well, we'll definitely find out.
Yeah.
So here's well, I guess Peter, you really had nothing else to offer. Is that really all your thoughts pertain to? You don't sound excited about the movie. Are you still, or
do we go to Regal Cinemas?
No.
I'm obviously excited for the movie.
Oh
In
yeah,
fact,
we can tell.
No. Shut the fuck up. Because none of you were excited for Avatar: The Way of Water. I was the only true Cameron believer, the true Avatar head, if you will. I dragged you to see the original Avatar in the re-release and the lead up to Way of Water. And now
All I said is that you didn't look excited. And all of a sudden you wake up. All of a sudden you wake up just to go ahead and throw nothing but baseless accusations. Here's some thoughts here. By Griffin Schiller. We all thought Cameron was making his Star Wars. Avatar: Fire and Ash cements it as his Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, highly complimentary. This is so at World's End coded, and Cameron has fully embraced the anime and video game inspos even more proudly here. A non-stop series of the most jaw-dropping radical shit you can and can't possibly imagine. Stephen Lang having the time of his life, making Miles Quaritch the MVP of the whole series. And then here's an interesting one. His thoughts continue. Genuinely curious how all the people who feel Fire and Ash is repetitive feel about Return of the Jedi. Cameron found his formula here and it works. Not only that, but it and Way of Water feeling like two halves of a whole story like Pirates 2 and 3 isn't a bad thing. But we all know how harshly those films were judged. He's making a saga, continuing instead of reinventing. The lack of innovation, quote unquote, isn't really a defect. He shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel with every outing. It being another Avatar film is the whole appeal, and IMO, and in my opinion, not a valid criticism. I get the film can feel unwieldy at times, but every detour serves a purpose. Every repetitive action is revealing a conflict within the characters. He's orchestrating melodrama on a grand scale. I think we as audiences have largely lost how to engage with that. I'm sorry, Cameron has not lost the sauce as far as I can tell, and I doubt that's going to begin with this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I will say, I don't think the trailers for this movie have been as exciting as for Way of Water. I don't know why. I just don't say. But I am very excited. I am the most excited. Easily.
Well, I know that we definitely are going to make plans to see it. I'm sure individually, but I think for sure we want to make sure we watch this together.
Someone
at the end of the year
had shared from their, I guess, local theater they're going to do a triple feature because they were showing on the same day at the same time. I believe it was what was it? I saw it was like a re-release of Sinners in IMAX 70 millimeter, and then it was like
One battle.
Avatar or One Battle 70 millimeter, and then what was the third film?
I thought it was the Kill Bill thing.
Kill Bill, yeah, the whole bloody affair, 70 millimeter IMAX,
Which is really 2 movies.
It's like
Kill Bill.
4.5 hours, yeah. So
Just
all
Kill
3
Bill.
IMAX 70 millimeter, and I just grew such hate in my heart seeing that.
That being said, would you
some
be able to
people have
withstand that?
everything. Yes.
Would you be able to
100%.
withstand that? Like, think about how many
1000%.
hours, really, if you do the math, how many hours is that? This is all in one day, correct?
Oh yeah. You start at like, what was it, like 8 in the morning. The last one is at like 6 p.m. or something like that. It starts at.
That's the whole day.
It's the whole day. It's a beautiful day.
One battle after
Beautiful
another,
day.
Sinners and Kill Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I would like to agree with you, and I think in spirit, but just from a practicality standpoint, this is why I don't really care about film festivals or I never ever care to go to one, because I just feel like those people have to watch like what 5 movies in one day and then crank out reviews for them on the websites, and I'm like,
Well, no,
I'm sorry,
some
but
people you can go to film festivals for fun. You can walk out if you think it's shit. You don't have to do reviews. It depends
guess
on the
that's
film
true.
festival.
Right. I guess in my mind, I was thinking if you were there to do a job, that would just seem like and even also for fun though. It's like I feel like if you're gonna go to a film festival, I know that let's just say you're a first time festival goer, you kind of want to be in the mood of like, okay, well, I have all these different offerings. I want to get through as many as I can, but it may just like burn you out. I feel like lately, I cannot handle more than 1 or 2 movies a week. New movies, I should say, to just like be able to like, wrestle with them and, live
No,
with
yeah,
them,
I agree. But the good thing is, and I guess that's why I like this one, is I've already seen all 3 films, technically, for the most part. So it as a first, I wouldn't do this for first time movie. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like the first time watching it. But if it's a movie I've already seen and like sort of sat with already for a while, hell yeah, I'll do it. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say that they were gonna do all the 3 Avatar movies. That would
kill me. That's not a great idea.
That's the thing. It's like, this is supposed to be the longest one yet, right? Fire and Ash.
Jesus Christ, yes.
Wasn't The Way of Water 3 hours and 10 minutes?
I think this one's 3:15. So
I'm sorry. I really love the fact that Cameron just does what he wants, and he is genuinely. I just feel like it feels good to have at least one person in the world that can like wave his dick around, do what he wants, and actually be a good guy, and like promote good things.
Well, I've
instead
always
of the
said,
other way.
There's a lot of losers in this world that love to worship money and power and people. I don't know if it's a lack of a father figure and they need a daddy in their life, and they look to like the worst, stupidest people. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, yada yada yada. If you're gonna do it, like if you're gonna be pathetic in that way, why not do it with a winner? James
Like
Cameron
Cameron.
is
Yeah.
actually, he can actually, he's actually intelligent. He's actually the dude just became a marine biologist. He's made the greatest films, most influential films of the fucking last 40, 50 years. He fucking went to the bottom of the ocean because he wanted to. He's an incredible drawer, artist. I don't know, like if you're gonna at least have them be talented, actually talented, not just say they're talented. That's my 2 cents on that.
I did also, I mean, and you can choose to believe it or not, but I do think it was pretty much of a major flex, because I'm sure Fire and Ash will probably be one of the best looking movies ever made, right? Because that's just Cameron's MO. To me, it was kind of a flex to say, oh yeah, there was no generative AI used in this movie. Again, you can choose to believe that or not, but if it is the case that he didn't use that, and for it to look as good as it does, big deal.
There was none done for the last 2 ones, and they're
exactly
visually incredible. I have no reason to believe that wasn't done here.
But good. I just wanted to say, shout out to Cameron and to Del Toro, of course, for just continuing the fuck AI narrative out there. We need it.
At this point moving forward, it's going to be a lot harder stance. The propaganda machines are turning for AI. And
they have been.
Yes. So I am fully supportive of artists who do not give in to the slop, Even if I don't even love the artists, if they're willing to take that stand, hell yeah, I'll support them.
Absolutely. Okay, then it's time to get into some movies. There are quite a few that we've seen. There was one, Peter, you did not get the chance to chime in on, and that was one that you were particularly looking forward to. Predator Badlands.
Oh, yeah. You guys already talked about it?
Mm-hmm.
We did.
Oh. I don't know how David, do you like Predators?
It's fine. I saw the first one a couple of years ago, and I thought it was just fine.
Oh. Okay. So, opinion irrelevant.
Sure.
So, considering the other two, my opinion is the most important here right now when it comes to Predator. I love Predator. Grew up with Predator. I remember seeing Alien versus Predator in the movie theaters. And here's the thing. I wasn't allowed to see rated R movies as a kid, but they'd show them on TV, like TNT. I saw so many quote-unquote rated R movies through like TNT that I shouldn't have. That's one thing that's like with the advent of cable going away, that I think hurts the film community is there's just so many movies I was introduced to because you're flipping channels and then it's on and you're like, whoa, what's this? And then you just stop and watch it. And that kind of doesn't exist anymore. You have to already be looking for, and it's not great. And also, yeah, like I said, like I wasn't allowed to see rated R movies, but it's cable, it's on there. All the bad stuff, quote unquote, is edited out, quote unquote. So then you could see it, and then it grows this familiarity with it. And yeah, that just doesn't exist through streaming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I loved Predators. I loved the AVP and the Alien and all of that. I just loved it all. So I know I really loved is my computer going crazy? Prey and everything that was sort of going on with the new Fox and what they were trying to do with the franchises. So I was super excited for Predator Badlands. And I would say, for the most part, my expectations were lived up to. I really, really enjoyed it. Maybe the only complaint I would have is that, and this is it. It's like, for the most part, this is it. Well, it would be nice for it to be rated R, but it's like, it's a minor complaint. I understand. You're gonna drop like 100 mil on a movie. It's a lot more difficult. And they did a great workaround to keep it as violent.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is it gets a little, I think, a little too silly, just slightly. I think what's her name?
Elle Fanning.
Elle Fanning is perfect as like the comedic relief, because it's also like weird fucked up comedic relief, the way she's just like jacked up and he's just dragging her everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think it works well. I think maybe the cute alien monkey is just a tad bit too much for Predator, just a little bit. And I also kind of don't like the design.
Yeah, I didn't like how
Uh-huh.
different it was from how it's going to get older. Like, he could have made it a little bit similar to it, made it look a little bit more badass.
I get what they were going for as far as hiding its hiding the connection between it and the larger version, the larger creature. I mean more just like make it uglier.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe just a cooler design rather than just like bug-eyed pug monkey. It looks like the puppy monkey baby from you see that commercial? Puppy monkey baby. It was a big Super Bowl commercial.
No.
No? All right, whatever.
I'll look it up.
Hate you all. No, especially because yeah, this is my problem. I love viewing it in the the movie includes this through the view of this larger cinematic universe about like the worst possible future timeline imaginable. That it includes like alien in it, and it's like the future. There's no democracy. There's only these massive businesses that control all of humanity, and we move to the stars only to become slave workers to the company. And you reach alien life, and alien life just wants to kill you. And it's a beautiful thing. So to me, I don't know, it's just a tad bit too cutesy. But other than that, I loved it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a really different approach to the Predator franchise, which I think is great, because I said this about Star Wars. I've said this about like every major franchise. If it's gonna go on forever, you gotta be doing different shit.
Mm-hmm.
And Trachtenberg, the director, clearly understands that, and he's constantly trying to do fun, new, innovative things with this franchise while also keeping it It's still unequivocally the Predator, and the Predator franchise. And I will say, my dad and uncle both have seen it, and they're around like the age group of the original Predator.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, because I like I said, I grew up watching Predator, so it was, and they both really liked it. They both were like, "Oh yeah, it's awesome." No, I just want to throw that out there because, for whatever reason, this film was chosen as the right wing panic of like feminism is destroying our movies.
I mean,
I don't know if you saw that.
at this point, it's all of them that comes out. Like, as long as there's a female character in it, they're gonna point it at it. But I get what you mean, because my dad also, he saw the original Predator. He actually saw the original Predator in a drive-in theater, which is not the best way to see it because it's a dark movie. And, but he saw it, kind of like was whatever about it. But then when he saw it on television, I think when it came out on television, he was like, "Holy shit, this is what I missed."
That did pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't think he's actually seen this movie yet. But he really liked Prey. I'm fairly certain he'll like this one.
Yeah.
And I like I do like using him as an example of being like, hey, it's not just like some grumpy old men who are complaining about this feminist movement and all that. It's like, no, it's just
it's good litmus test for like
general audiences,
people that are too online that are trying to create political drama and points for money versus like the real world. The way people actually feel, which is like, no, they really enjoy it. And if this one I think had an A- cinema score, which is pretty damn good. So no, I really, really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I really like Trachtenberg as a director. I of course would like to see him continue with this franchise, but I would also like to see him branch out and do other stuff because I just think he's a really good director. But yeah, very positive on the film.
Yeah, I think all of us really enjoyed it for the most part. Yeah, I agree with everything that was said right there.
Same.
All right, with that out of the way with, let's go ahead and go over to what I think at this point is going to be the first of the 4 major reviews that we have. I think we'll begin with the one that probably isn't as much to say, but I just think all of us, and I want to I verify for the audience here, yes, all 4 of us did watch the actual movies this time. It's funny because last time that we did this, we were supposed to have a review for Wicked for Good. Alexis could not make that, and she sent over these these voice notes for like, okay, her thoughts on the movie, which she very much did not care for. We did not realize that she was the only person that actually saw it. So last time we were kind of like, oh, and now we're going to review Wicked, and then David and I were like, wait, you haven't seen the movie? And just to double check, none of us here have seen it, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
No.
Okay. I knew that was the case. Just wanted to verify that. Okay, so the first movie, and you can pull this up, Peter, it's the Brendan Fraser movie.
Oh, yes.
Rental Family is the first movie that we're going to be talking about today.
By the way, David, how did Miss Alexis feel about Wicked for Good?
I'm not allowed to comment.
You cannot do that, Peter. You cannot do that. Do you Okay, no, for the audience, just to be clear about that, you just did that on purpose, you bitch. Now I have to address it now. Okay. David Francisco is no longer allowed to speak on the opinions of Alexis Moreno on any way at all. There was a formal complaint lodged, and after everything was out in the open and made clear, evidently there were misrepresentations that were made along the way, one too many times, and somebody snapped, and that's why Peter pulled that move right there, just so we can have this be the discussion for some reason.
It's because last time I saw David, he had said that she had quite enjoyed Wicked for Good, so I just wanted to get it straight. That's what he had said. I was interested if she had elaborated on that to him. If not, okay.
And I'm sure she would appreciate me stepping in to correct that misinformation. To my knowledge, she has never once said that. She has been very forthright and adamant and very direct with her view that this was something that was at best flawed and at worst offensive.
So you're someone who is allowed to say how she feels.
I am communicating, I feel, as accurately as I can after not having, communicated with her via text, but also speaking with her. And might I add, of the people on this panel that have been accused of misrepresenting certain somebody's views, I was not that person. You, on the other hand, by the way, who just spoke, Peter, have been accused for many years now as being one to completely and intentionally misrepresent. I mean, you are the one that said that she was against, I guess, indigenous peoples for not having to go see James Cameron's Avatar movies.
Mm-hmm. Also, that she does not support Latinas
or women.
Yeah, which by the way she talked about Ariana Grande, let me just tell you, the streak continues. So yeah, okay. Next time I want to know her opinion.
A streak for Latinas or a streak for women?
Both. So the next time I want to know her opinion, I'll come to you, Alexis.
Alexis Moreno.
No, the man, Alexis, in front of me, because you, I guess you have jurisdiction.
I spoke with her at length, and I don't have a track record of mixing up anything else. I mean, however, since I think it is a very fair point, Peter. Perhaps I shouldn't speak for her. Yeah. So with that being said, here.
The gist of this video is...
That's the wrong one. Sorry.
You played yourself.
No, that's the wrong one. Sorry.
It's you reiterating her opinion.
No, wait. It's here somewhere. Give me a minute. This is not... Oh my God. Where are they? Oh my God. Okay. Here it is. Sorry. That was here.
Hello. I don't like doing this. This is far more awkward. My thoughts on Wicked. In the first one, I hated Glinda, and I don't think it got any better for me.
What'd I say? So far, I've been the most accurate.
Maybe 2 of the songs. The last song is like I forgot what it's called. It's not For Good, is it?
We don't fucking
whatever.
know. We don't see it.
The last song I thought was really beautiful, but I don't like it in context of in the movie. I like it by itself because when I think about it in the movie, I get really angry because I don't know. I really don't like Glinda.
I am the most accurate.
I thought about it a little bit more. I didn't really like what they did with the Tin Man, but after giving it a few days, it's fine. What's his name? Ethan Slater did really good. Portraying him. But it's a little like the Tin Man was my favorite in the original, so it was a little just like watching what they did with him. But I guess. I thought the scene what's her name? Elphaba and Fiyero I thought had more chemistry in the first one. In this one I didn't like it. I didn't believe their story. I don't know. It was just weird. It was awkward. I thought the whole scene with them was a little bit cringe. I didn't really like how Jonathan Bailey sang that song with both of them. In the beginning, once it got to the end, it was fine, but I just thought it was a little, I don't know, not the best. What else? I don't know. I feel like I need to see the musical because I'm just very confused as to, like, I feel like they kind of went hard with, like, the animal cruelty and, like, all these other themes within the first one that I think the second one, like, it kind of was secondary to everything, and I thought it was gonna not be that way. Like, I thought they were gonna lean into it more, so I think that's what's, like, making me not like it. The thing with Nessa, or, like, what happened with her, like, I think that's the part I was looking forward to seeing the most, because I wanted to see, like, what they did with all of that, and I feel like they didn't, like, they kind of just, like, not that they forgot about it, but I don't know. I just don't think that they put much importance to it. And like their fight had to do with Fiero, which I think kind of ruined everything because it's like, oh, okay, over a guy. I don't know. I wish that they would have had the guts to like lean into that more rather than just have them fight and argue over a guy. I think that Elphaba forgave Glinda too easily after the part she played in within like the I guess government, but also with Nessa, and to me that's just like I don't know. Like I can't get over that and yeah. But yeah, I won't watch it. I'll probably just maybe watch the first one. Maybe. But yeah.
Okay. I got misinformation from David. By the way, she had mentioned the original. Does she like the original?
Yeah.
The
Original
sorry, not
what?
the original. Does she like The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
A lot?
Yeah. Watch our
Okay.
commentary about it.
Okay.
We
David,
did an
I will-
audio comment. We did an audio commentary reaction to this movie a year ago, and we talked at length about it. It's really embarrassing,
David, I
Peter,
will
how
take your word on her opinion. Rental family.
you don't have to take his word on it to be clear about that because
Directed by Hilkari.
the actual commentary of the movie is available
Happiness.
on Red Spotlight itself. And I also
Tailored
wanted to verify this as well,
you.
that Peter happened to be literally sitting next to me and Alexis when we were having this conversation about what her problems were with Wicked. And the fact that you were kind of doubting me in the beginning really shows how little you listen, to when an Alexis is speaking of any kind. So just to be clear, you stood corrected. Okay.
I remember she was going to a musical rave.
That's all you remember.
And I remember she hated Ariana Grande. And I was correct on both fronts. Happiness, tailored to you. An American actor in Tokyo struggles to find purpose until he lands an unusual gig, working for a Japanese rental family agency, playing stand-in roles for strangers. As he immerses himself in his client's world, he begins to form genuine bonds that blur the lines between performance and reality. Starring Brendan Fraser. And also, names I will not butcher, but rest assured they are Japanese. So yeah, rental family.
I really enjoyed the movie. I gotta tell you, I genuinely found it all kinds of heartwarming and moving on various different fronts. As I'm sure one of us will probably mention too, a highlight certainly happens to be its sense of humor, and you definitely have Brendan Fraser that really, and it's interesting because he does feel like a fish out of water, but it's not a fish out of water story. What makes his character interesting is that he is an American, but he's like he's made Japan his adopted home, and so he's fluent. But he's still trying to kind of like pierce through the culture. And I think they even mention in the movie itself that one can live for 100 years and still not really feel like they're a part of, I guess, the mind or the people that live there. Just the premise itself, I found it to be quite intriguing and also just kind of unique in how, I don't know if this is actually a thing, and if it seems to be, it is interesting for sure. And I do feel ultimately, I don't know if the film I don't know if this could be taken as a criticism. I think from an outward glance, you might think that the movie is going to say one way or the other about whether or not like this is a great thing that this particular, I guess, company does. And I feel like it's going one way as you're watching the film in the beginning, then it kind of explores a bit more of those grays that happen in there. I don't know. It's a really kind of emotionally interesting film. There are some characters that do some things where I find myself two ways about it, as in like, okay, I can see where you're coming from, but this just seems like such an unfair thing to do to a person. I really just emotionally complicated with that too. But overall, I feel like the film is carried by Brendan Fraser, and I really do enjoy the ensemble in this film. I think every actor here really does contribute. I mean, especially, I do like it kind of gets there at the end of the movie, a bit of a family unit with, his coworkers, where they kind of, finally understand each other and help each other along. But I think to me, the highlights for sure of the film are Brendan Fraser's relationship with his daughter, quote unquote, and then also the Japanese, or I guess the elder actor, whom he helps to rediscover a part of his past. Genuinely, I really, really liked this movie. I went back and watched it a second time and enjoyed it even more so. So, I would just say it is. I think it's the kind of film people would like, maybe not dismiss, but I think put in a box as like, oh, it's cute, or it's nice, or it's warm, and it is those things. I do think though it's trying to say something more. I don't know how successful it is at that, but I enjoyed the commentary.
See, I might be one of those people that would put it in that box. But that comes
I know,
mostly
that's why I said that.
yeah, I know. Everything is a direct attack on me.
I have to. I mean, you attack me, I gotta throw it back your way as well. Okay.
I think that mostly happens, I think, in the very end.
Yes.
I think up until then, it does a really good job sort of juggling first of all, a beautiful film, very humorous.
Can we stop there?
Very
beautiful, but also just beautiful from how it looks. I really enjoyed just the photography, the cinematography. There are just these wide shots of Tokyo and then these other locations that take place in the movie where I'm just like, that looks so beautiful.
It's one of those movies where, and we were talking about this recently. I really love seeing movies because they can be sort of time capsules that sort of perfectly encapsulate the world in a city the way it was in that moment of time. And this feels like one of those movies where they love taking these like sort of taking their time with these longer shots of just focusing on the streets and the signs and sort of the life moving in Tokyo. And it's really beautiful and it's well shot, and I really enjoy it. Brendan Fraser is fantastic as always. Yes. It feels like a role tailor-made for Brendan Fraser.
Now Academy Award winner.
Award winner Brendan Fraser. He's really fantastic in the role, and like you said, I enjoy the larger ensemble too that they create within the rental family company. I think it did a really good job, sort of balancing the feel goodness of the film and the subject material with also like the reality of the repercussions that would come from this sort of thing. But it's the reason why I call it a little more cutesy and feel good than is because I think like the very, very end of the film, it kind of wraps up in a way that cuts underneath the more reality of it, just a little bit. like there's a clean resolve between him and the rest of them, and the resolve is just kind of like, well, we're doing the same thing, but we're not going to do apologies anymore. And it's like, I don't know if that accurately gets to the heart of like the complex nature of the whole scheme, really, the whole business. But it's like, well, it kind of feels like, well, that's resolved in a kind of way. And then also the relationship between him and the little girl, it's a little clean. Whereas I think the one that works the best is his relationship with the old man, the old actor.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Especially because it sort of introduces some interesting stuff with the boss, kind of late in the game.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to see that explored a little more. So I was like, oh shit, that's really interesting. That's pretty cool. And it's a little clean, wrapped in a bow, a little bit too clean, I guess I would say, and wrapped in a bow, the way it sort of everything resolves. But ultimately, the whole experience and the whole film I found to be really enjoyable. Brendan Fraser, again, fantastic. Honestly, I don't know if I came in with much of any expectations. I thought it was an interesting premise. I love Brendan Fraser. I'll watch him in anything. But I think I ended up enjoying it quite a bit more than I thought I would. And I walked out going like, yeah, that's a good film. Like I said, it's the kind of film they don't make as much, I would say.
Yeah.
Or this well. Definitely feel good. Definitely something the whole family can see, but also there's a little bit more depth to what they're trying to explore.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. I didn't really think much about what the depth of it, what the messaging was with this movie. Like I very much just like seeing it as a sort of just, I wouldn't say adventure, but you're just seeing a story of a guy, dealing with this situation. How much does it affect them? Especially, I really liked Brendan Fraser's character and how he does deal with this whole thing. Very much almost against it in the beginning, but then starts to, in a sense, take advantage of it to sort of deal with his own emotional issues. I just sort of saw it like that. I didn't really think much about like, oh, what's the message here? Like, what's it trying to say, and like, what's it trying to explore with this situation, the rental family situation. I know I did hear about this somewhere on the internet, but I mean, can't really trust the internet much, so I wasn't really 100% sure if it was true or not. But I like how they dealt with the good and the bad of this whole situation. I think they balanced it out pretty well. Yeah. I do agree that it was pretty much tied in a bow, good ending. We're all just like moving on, doing better with it or something like that. And it was a little bit too
a little too clean.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. I would have liked maybe one of the relationships maybe just didn't end so well or something, or maybe one people left. I would say maybe at the very least the boss would have left. Because he's the one, I feel like out of all of them, he's the one that's like, just, I don't think dealing with it the right way. Like, this isn't really helping him, at least from what it seems in the movie. And then maybe...
But I kind of liked the idea of him coming to terms with that.
Okay.
In the way that he uses it in his own life.
Mm-hmm.
That feels that could have been like a whole other movie.
Yeah.
This is why I said I think it would have been cool to explore that a little more.
For sure.
Honestly, I get where they're coming from. I don't know how they could have done it without it being too sad. I feel like the relationship between him and the little girl maybe shouldn't have ended the best.
Mm-hmm.
Because like a child, they're not emotionally equipped to deal with that kind of shit. You know what I mean? That kind of deception. But I understand. It's like, how do you pull that off without it just feeling like a depressing fucking movie?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, but
and I feel like ultimately we should, not everything needs to be depressing. I feel like every now and then we do need to have something that's leaves you, I guess, on a high note. Not necessarily saying
like a
that
feel
it
good
wouldn't
film.
have been sure. Yeah, and that I feel it's funny. Even in our circle, I think we appreciate all kinds of movies, but I do feel like we're often finding to just defend movies on its merit, even if it simply is feel good, because feel good has become a dirty word, especially in the last 15 years when it comes to movies. But I definitely was thinking a lot of different things throughout the movie. I was so moved by. I mean, I love the whole sequence of like the quote unquote kidnapping, or I guess the
jailbreak.
What does the old man call it?
Jailbreak.
The prison break or jailbreak.
Jailbreak.
And they spend the whole day traveling back to his original home. But when he digs up what he's looking for, and he sees his old life, and that was just an amazing moment to just see, and you could definitely feel. I mean, that to me, that just made the movie. And I genuinely really loved the dynamic that Brendan Fraser had with the little girl. Do you feel it was... I mean, I guess this kind of gets into your own perspective, not necessarily anything in regards to like how, the film structurally works or not. Do you feel like it was kind of really unfair what that mom did? Or do you understand that? Because I feel like I was a little bit like, are you kidding me right now? Especially when like the daughter was like trying to like actually, communicate with the mom. Was like, hey, is this person not my dad or whatever? And then she just like tries to change the subject. And I'm like, are you...
See,
she's not.
It was.
That's what I mean. It ended a little too clean in that like the mother... You could say maybe cultural differences, but also like...
Sure.
All she's thinking about is, I'm being a good mom because I am going to set you up in the future, right? And she's not necessarily thinking about the, like, emotional ramifications of fucking with her about her or who her father is in that moment, right? So there's a sort of grayness back and forth. That's sort of interesting, right? It's not that I want it to be a negative ending. I think you can still have it be mostly feel good, but sort of be a little bit more honest about what would actually happen in something like that. But yeah.
Overall, really good movie.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, it'll get some mentions. It's not going to be an awards player. It's probably too maybe straightforward and too, I guess, independent adjacent, if you want to call it that way. I mean, it is Searchlight, but it's not going to be a major player. I mean, it'll be lucky to have a couple of mentions here or there. And I want to say, National Board of Review was one of those people. So, yeah. Really interesting to see how this filmmaker goes forward. Yes, go ahead.
I do love Brendan Fraser's acting in this. I mentioned it to you, but there's just something about his acting that he's able to really hit the right moments of when to do a joke, and just something about it. Like, it's always a surprise once he does one. It's like, oh shoot, that's really funny. It really is. Like, it does surprise me every single time, especially the funeral scene. Like,
that was so good.
I just didn't expect him to react that way. I mean, obviously it's a good reaction, obviously, but the way he did it, it was really funny. Especially, and then the other moment when with that, what is it, cat festival or something? There was little moments of comedy with him. I don't know. I don't know if it was a direct thing or if it was his choices, but yeah, he just knows how to balance out when to make a joke at the right moment.
No, yeah, for sure. And of course, how hilarious was the commercial they made,
Oh yeah.
which apparently was his big break in Japan, and how
Mhm.
everybody seems to know him from that. But yeah. Okay. Moving from one emotionally charged, well, not charged, but I guess emotionally complex, to a much more emotionally charged movie by design. Shall we get to the latest and greatest from Chloe Zhao? Chloe Zhao's previous... Peter, that's your cue to load up the description.
It's already
Chloe
loaded
Zhao's
up, 'cause I
previous
know my
movies
job.
include The Rider, the Best Picture winning... Nomadland. And then also... By the way, they really did Nomadland so dirty because I think no one even remembers that one Best Picture because they ended that ceremony with Best Actor, which was supposed to be Chadwick Boseman, but it wasn't Chadwick Boseman, and it was just I forgot. I was like, anyway. And then of course Eternals, which everyone seems to think is the worst thing ever made, for some strange reason. Anyway, here is Peter with Hamnet.
I don't know about strange reason. Hamnet. Chloe Zhao. Keep your heart open. The powerful story of love and loss that inspired the creation of Shakespeare's timeless masterpiece, Hamlet. Starring Jessie Buckley, Paul Mescal, Emily Watson, Jacob Juppy, and who are the young
Jupe.
kids? Jupe. Oh, Jupe. Bodie Ray Breathneck, Olivia Lyne. These are some freaking British people. Anyway, yeah, Hamnet. What's very funny is I don't think Alexis knew what this movie was about, other than Shakespeare. David,
Which one?
Did you know? You.
Oh, okay.
Did you know what this movie was about?
I knew what was going to happen. With one of his
Okay.
kids.
Here's something.
uh-huh.
Here's what's it? Is it JD Duran? Hamnet is devastating, but it's so much more than just a movie about grief and loss. It's equally interested in life, love, and the deeper power of art as a means of healing. The birth scene is a gripping juxtaposition and a vital moment in grounding the film's central polarity. Was deeply moved by those ironies, especially when coupled with Hamnet's sacrifice, quote unquote, and the cost of it. Jessie Buckley ripped my heart out. Paul Mescal is once again phenomenal. Jacoby Jupe is with arguably the best child performance of the last decade. This will linger with me for a long time. To what Peter was saying, I don't know. I didn't really know what this was, and I just want to make sure. So this is an adaptation of a book, right? So okay, this was a novel written by Maggie O'Farrell. This was published on March 2020. That's a cursed month because that was when all the things went to shit with COVID. Anyway, this was a fictional account of William Shakespeare's son, Hamnet, who died at age 11 in 1596, focusing on his parents' grief. So just to be clear, this is a fictional work based on something that happened in real life, in terms of the fact that William Shakespeare was somebody that existed. He had a son named Hamnet.
Mm-hmm.
Like was it, and then he died, I think, in similar circumstances. And I feel like this book, and by extension this movie, was to kind of, I guess, imagine what that would have been like, and what Shakespeare and those in his life would have been thinking of when, I mean, because from what I have heard, there is no standing whatsoever that suggests in any way that Hamlet, one of the great Shakespeare works, was inspired because of the tragedy of his son. Even though it is called the tragedy of Hamlet, I want to say, right? Although I guess you could imagine highly that this was highly inspirational, motivational for him to do that work. I don't know. It's up to whatever you want to say, but this is not like, I guess what you would say a true telling, but I
No.
guess it is if you want it to be.
Honestly, I don't even think. I think the movie works without the connection to Shakespeare,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
If this was just 100% a made up story, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, just by some random artist playwright that we've made up, and that was what it was. I think it works just fine. I don't
They don't
think
even
it
say
relies
William
at
Shakespeare
all.
one
Yeah.
time until like the
Oh,
end
they-
of the movie.
Yeah, like twice maybe they say the word. It in no way relies on him, and
Though they do quote Shakespeare quite a bit towards, I think, the end of the movie. It kind
towards
of all
the end,
is that.
It's the actual play, so.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but like I said, like I don't think it has to.
Mhm.
In fact, originally that was going to be one of my complaints. I'm like, it feels so detached. I'm not sure what the point is. And then the third act happens, and it's like, okay, I can kind of see where it comes back in, and I see what they were doing. But for the most part, it's really just about like, it's just raw human emotion, right?
Yeah.
That idea of falling in love and very real human loss and the fallout from that. That's kind of what the movie's about. And for the most part, I feel it worked on me. And I thought, overall, fantastic direction by Chloe Zhao. I mean, obviously fantastic performances.
Yeah.
Jessie Buckley has never given a bad performance. And Mr. Mescal himself, I think he's a fantastic actor, but I do think he's one of those where he works mostly only in certain roles.
Mhm.
You know what it reminds me of? If you remember a film that you and I enjoy, but a lot of people love to rag on, Being the Ricardos, which is by Aaron Sorkin.
Mhm.
There's a moment in there where Nicole Kidman, who's playing Lucille Ball, I think she's like up for a part after like being rejected, and then she kind of crashes out by, I don't know who she mentions, some like one of her peers, and she says, she does she only does one thing. She does it very well, but she just does one thing.
Mhm.
It very well could be Paul Mescal was that
Yeah.
way, where
I
he
mean, I
just
think
does,
so.
and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that,
No,
per
not at
se.
all. Especially if you do it that well.
But I mean, I think there is reason to think that. I mean, I feel like he's had a huge splash for certain movies, but they all are kind of on the same cloth of, I guess, vibe. If you watch this,
It's the
like
same
After
vibe,
Sun, All of Us
character-wise.
Strangers,
Mhm.
Hamnet, they all are kind of on the same way. The only one that's, well, I'm not even sure if it's different, but one that I would say I think people seemingly have come on the side of it not working out very well is Gladiator 2.
He
There
comes
were a
off
lot of
miscast.
accusations of him being miscast.
I will hear those accusations. And I would compare it to who's the main actor for Wake Up Dead Man? The priest.
Josh O'Connor.
Josh O'Connor. Josh O'Connor, he has a similar vibe, especially in real life, I think, to
Paul Mescal.
to Mr. Mescal. But he has shown, acting wise, he's able to play very opposite. And challengers.
Which we should note, Rian Johnson has given interviews and saying Josh O'Connor really would not have gotten the role for that movie had it not been for Challengers, and Daniel Craig, who was all buddies with Luca Guadagnino, who directed both Challengers and Queer. So Daniel Craig kind of like introduced Josh O'Connor to Rian Johnson after Ryan was kind of like enamored with Josh's performance in Challengers. And then of course we should also say, a lot of people, I feel, he I don't know what was, he had a big role as playing Prince Charles on The Crown. And then I want to say, I think his first big like indie small movie that kind of blew up was, I think it's called God's Own Country, which was like the same year that Call Me By Your Name came out, which was...
I thought you were going to say La Chimera.
That one came out in the last... Did you watch that movie?
It's on my watch list. I keep meaning to.
People love it. I couldn't get into it. I don't know. I was in the wrong mood. And honestly, it could have just been me, but people really liked that movie.
People adore that film.
I couldn't vibe with it. And look, that to your credit, he plays kind of a grotesque individual, so maybe that. But I think that goes to your point. Like he definitely plays different characters from moment to moment. But I think overall, though, and David, I think you also feel this way too. I mean, look, the performance is very across the board, very, very good to very great. It's interesting to me because, structurally speaking, if we're going to, kind of bounce off of what Peter was saying in terms of like, all this really is here to do is to genuinely make you feel emotion and emotional. And it's very successful at making you feel that way. Now, granted, we do have to put out a caveat, and that is not everybody, I think most audiences are going to feel emotionally, wrenched by experiencing this movie for sure. But, I do feel there's going to be an every odd person that's going to be like, I'm sorry, guys. I just didn't get that emotional. I want to say, even as we were walking out, I overheard somebody behind me who was like, I don't know. I've been made more emotional by other things. And look, that's fair. People have different tastes and different things that they find that are going to make them feel emotional. That's true. I hope that there doesn't come to be some kind of backlash with people who are pissed off at the movie for not feeling as emotional as I guess it was trying to make them. And then we'll see. It's interesting though that Jessie Buckley is incredible in the film. She always gives a great performance. But I gotta tell you, as much as she broke my heart, the performance that completely stole this movie from me was Jacoby Jupe. Like he has like a huge role, but it's kind of like in the middle of the movie. But from the minute he's on the screen, I'm like, where did this come from? Mm-hmm. Where did he come from? And it kind of just takes you by storm. And of course, I mean, I myself wasn't so familiar with I'm not really as familiar with like the details of like William Shakespeare's personal life. I don't think many people are, honestly. To me, his works can be kind of a chore to get through. I mean, the literature, the dialogue, especially, I think is just really hard to pierce. I myself am not really able to really get into it. And I gotta say, I really like the third act. I like how it was all kind of tied into, ultimately what the story is trying to impart on you. In a way, there are various things that it's trying to impart on you, but I think to me what I responded to a lot was the idea that artists and art, they're very important for humans to kind of get through life. People treat it as something that's very disposable, but what you basically have, as is presented in this movie, is William Shakespeare processing the loss and the grief of the loss of his son, and this tragedy of Hamlet is one of the ways he's able to kind of work through that. And I think ultimately a lot of people understand this, but a lot of people I think fail to see that this is a huge part of why art is so important, is because it can help human beings kind of process what is happening in their lives. And I was thinking of other movies that are like this, that show how important stories are, how stories can move humans, how stories and movies kind of end up being representations of the artists' lives, and then also how artists can change certain things about their, or use what happened in their life to tell a narrative, but a narrative that is healing, maybe in a better way that life actually happened. I'm thinking of movies like George Miller's 3,000 Years of Longing. I'm thinking of Saving Mr. Banks. I'm thinking of The Fabelmans. Those kinds of stories where it's like you have either swaths of people who are being moved by a story, or why are people so enamored with stories, but then also you have individuals, like in Saving Mr. Banks, you have what was it, P.L. Travers and Walt Disney kind of like telling the story of this Mary Poppins, but when you find a deeper layer beneath it, you kind of understand where that's going through. And I think the core of that film was when Walt Disney tells P.L. Travers, aren't you tired of remembering it that way? Don't you want to finish the story? It's another way to kind of process, I guess, the grief of the loss of a loved one, right? And then, of course, all of Fabelmans, where that gets to, with all of the different things that happen in there. So those are some movies that were coming to my mind, specifically when the third act was happening, and it basically is just, it turns into Jessie Buckley watching Hamlet and seeing, she goes there angry and kind of disgusted, quite frankly, that Shakespeare would do this and not tell her about it. And I think part of her, went there with the mind to make a scene. I agree with you, David. There are some moments where I'm like, oh my God, don't.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute. But like, it is something really special that happens. And even though I'm sorry, I don't speak Shakespeare. So a lot of that stuff was like, they were really speaking in a whole other language. They could have been speaking in High Valerian for all I could, follow. But I got the feeling, I got the emotion of what was intended, and I think that worked out quite well. But yeah, this was a really interesting viewing experience. I don't want to sidestep that. I wasn't really aware of how emotional it was going to be. I wasn't really fully prepared for how swept up I would be in it. I think I held up pretty well, I would say, in comparison to literally everybody else in the theater. Like, oh my God, the amount of sniffling I heard in that room. I don't remember a time where it was like consistently that much crying. I'm like, oh my God. And of course it gets to you when you're in there. But that, and also as far as like, to me, it felt, I don't know. This felt more so than just like watching a normal movie. It felt, I was watching, a genuine historical experience, something just truly magical in that sense. To me, and this is why I love, movies, not necessarily solely about historical figures. It's not really about historical figure. It just happens to feature historical individuals and historical works of art. And it's speaking to something far more deeply. I feel like this movie really got me to understand what life was like at that time, what also Shakespeare might have been going through. It helped make me kind of connect with this historical figure on an emotional level as a human being. And I thought that was something truly extraordinary. So,
yeah.
David.
This movie made me feel emotional for sure. I was one of the ones sniffling. in this movie. Yeah, this was just beautiful, honestly. Tragic, but beautiful. I like I said, I knew what was going to happen with one of the kids and all that, but I was still not prepared as to how they were going to show it. And I just, this is something that even Alice said. It's like I never seen something shown so tragic, but yet so beautiful. Like the way, just it was shown how the kid himself was prepared to go in a sense, and afterwards how they dealt with it. It was, yeah, I just kind of crying afterwards how they were all dealing with it. But yeah, but that was just for the story itself. Everything else though, yeah, performance wise, everyone absolutely killed it. I for sure agree with what you guys said about Paul Mescal. I'm pretty sure I've only ever seen 2 movies of his, this one and Gladiator 2, and performance wise, there really isn't much of a difference, which is weird because you think there would be for Gladiator 2 for what kind of movie that is.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh yeah. But for this specific movie though, his performance really worked. It was the perfect, he was perfect for it, really. And the thing I was kind of mostly excited to see, or at least I was curious to see, is the cinematography. I haven't seen Nomadland, but I know people were really liked the cinematography in that one. I knew some bits and pieces of like how they were filming it and all that, and I thought it was curious, and I liked what she did with the Eternals. Really, the only good-looking one in this post-2020, post-Endgame Marvel. And so I was kind of curious what she was going to do with this, and yeah, she absolutely nailed it. I loved how just everything looked, the whole era, how it felt like you were in that situation. Loved every forest scene, and just loved every shot of well, mainly just the main shots of like looking into the black void, I guess you can say, and how it was used. At first it was like almost scary, like you knew something was coming up whenever it stared at it, but then towards the end you sort of what's the word, like you're not afraid of it, you're accepting of it, I guess you can say, that it eventually came, and you just kind of have to move along. Yeah, this was really, really good. I really want to see it again, despite going through that emotional trauma of it. But I want to rewatch it. I want to read the Hamlet, and maybe Hamnet. I don't know. I'd rather read Hamlet just so I can fully understand what the fuck was going on in that third act. Because I'm with you too. I'm like, I can guess what you're saying, but I have no idea what it is. I've only ever read one Shakespeare's book, The Merchant of Venice, but that was just for a literature class, and so we went about, what every word meant, so I was able to understand everything. But if I were to reread that one, I'm still gonna be like, wait, what? What's this part again? But yeah, and yeah, this was just absolutely amazing.
I was gonna say earlier, I'm a little interested to see if there, and maybe I mentioned it earlier in the show about there potentially being some kind of a backlash to Jessie Buckley, in that, not that she's bad, but more so if she's declared the front runner too early and too soon, that some people might be like, really? I don't know if that'll happen. I think that could be a possibility. But if she starts winning everything, then I think that's already like a signed, sealed, delivered situation where it's over, and that's just it. I would like to see, it's not going to happen, But I would like to see more conversations happening around Jacoby Jupe. And I'm not sure if you were aware of this. But what was interesting about that last bit of the movie, you are aware of the actor they got, right? For
to play Hamlet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my gosh, we saw him in something recently. I think he was in Carpenter's Son, actually.
I don't know if he was, but the actor that played Hamlet is Jacoby Jupe's real life older brother.
Oh, that's awesome.
His name is Noah Jupe.
Let me look at the cast.
So it was yeah.
Yep, right here. Noah Jupe. He was in Carpenter's Son. He was good in that one too.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, just holding space here for somebody to return. So in the meantime, here's something.
Finally in theaters, so let me tell you why this has been one of my most anticipated films of the year since the absolute crazy buzz it got at festivals. First is the absolutely astronomical level of talent involved between the incredibly captivating Jessie Buckley, Paul Mescal, and Academy Award-winning Chloe Zhao. And then there's the genre itself, which is one of my all-time favorite ways to delve into history. This fictionalized historical retelling that allows you to connect with these real historical figures on a very human level. In this case, a really unique and beautiful perspective on William Shakespeare and his family, a side of him that we really haven't gotten to explore much in media. I'm a sucker for stories about Shakespeare. I love a good costume drama, but what I love the most is a good character-driven story that is deeply emotional. And I finally got to see Hamnet recently, and it really lived up to this expectation. Turns out there's a reason why everyone's been buzzing about this movie since it premiered at festivals, and also a reason why they're telling you to bring tissues when you see it. It is in theaters now, so get your tickets.
Yeah,
and be prepared
I
to
would have
weep.
appreciated a heads up. I think some of you guys would have been too. I don't know. I feel like, and you tell me. I wasn't looking at all in your direction because I don't want to do that, but it seemed to my ear that Alexis was crying quite a lot.
Oh yeah, she was for sure crying way more than me, just losing it. But for me too,
the whole time.
yeah, like as soon as the kids got sick, tears started rolling in, and for me, yeah, I was crying for sure too, just letting them all out, really. So were you also crying, or were you just kind of like?
No, I was getting to the point, but then this sounds pretty bad to say. I was about to get there, but then it took me out of it. How many more people were crying?
You're like,
so I gotta tell you, I'm no, it's not that. It's that I was focusing. I was distracted by the amount of sniffles and tears that I was hearing. That it kind of like, oh wait, what the heck's going on here? It created a distraction where I wasn't fully able to engage with what was happening. I feel like if I was alone watching it, it definitely would have like kicked in as it would be. But that's why I'm saying it, and I'm not saying it as a bad thing. I mean, I felt the emotion. I definitely, it's a tragedy for sure. But it was a noticeable. I wasn't angry. I was just like, okay, this is weird. So many people were crying, and I was like, oh, okay. I wish I could too, but now I'm just hearing all these sniffles throughout the whole time, and I'm like, but to me, I was more so just like, this is really something. How powerfully people are responding to the movie, and it caused me to think while I was watching the movie and experiencing the movie. It's like, I can't remember the last time this actually happened, and so this was distracting me from watching the movie as I was thinking these thoughts, and people were having these notable reactions. Peter, since you're back, you want to go ahead and enlighten us with your experience with Hamnet?
I found it very enjoyable. I loved the slower nature of the film. The insistence on nature. That all goes down to, I think, Chloe Zhao's sensibilities. Jessie Buckley was fantastic, like I said. I did find it very emotionally moving. I did feel like the audience did as well. I know a lot of people. It's weird. It has its haters for sure. The film. I don't know if they say like it's emotionally manipulative, or actually the opposite, that they just didn't feel anything. Which, I mean, if you don't feel it, you don't feel it. Like, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You can't force a feeling. That's fine. It's a different experience for everyone. The ones that I found the most funny were like the Shakespeare nerds that are like, this isn't. That's not the way it was in the comics about fucking Shakespeare. And it's like, shut up, nerd. No one gives a fuck. It's a movie, and it's very clearly a dramatization took a real life thing and sort of created this dramatization around it. No, but ultimately, I did have a very good experience with it. I don't know if I would watch it again, because it's kind of just heavy, as a film. And for me, I really liked it. I don't know if I loved it. But I also, I don't know if I can quite place where it came up short for me. Either, And I think in a lot of ways, like, it resonated with me, but it didn't blow me away.
I think there's plenty of room for movies like that, right? Where it's like structurally, and I think where it's structurally sound, and then it accomplishes what it sets out to do, which is this was here to make you feel emotional and make you respond emotionally, and you really can't really imagine how they could have improved on that, and yet while you can call it great, it's mission accomplished, but still, it's not something. Maybe it just didn't. It's not. I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna say. Just you can't really put it into a word, I guess. Sometimes movies connect all the way, and sometimes they don't.
I agree.
All right, which one should we do next? You want to go ahead and pick, Peter?
What are our options?
Del Toro and Johnson.
We can do Del Toro. We can do Del Toro.
Frankenstein.
Have we not? Has no one talked about this one yet?
We brought it up briefly last episode, but
you didn't do a full review, right?
No.
Frankenstein, directed by Guillermo Del Toro. Only monsters play God. Dr. Victor Frankenstein, a brilliant but egotistical scientist, brings a creature to life in a monstrous experiment that ultimately leads to the undoing of both the creator and his tragic creation. Starring Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, Christoph Waltz, Mia Goth, and, some other ones, David Bradley. So
I would just say...
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, okay.
No, you wanted to say?
Well, because apparently I'm surprised that you would actually volunteer to go first. Usually you want to save yourself for last, So I just go first by default because I know it's going to cause some kind of distraction or something. I would just say that
distracted is you.
Well, you're probably going to have a lot to say on the novelization by Mary Shelley, which you've read. That is the story that Frankenstein comes from, so that's the original. I'm much more familiar with the two James Whale films, which are, in the pantheon of the classic monster Universal movies, Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, both of which I think are incredible movies, especially Bride of Frankenstein. And I think it's an interesting, I feel, kind of work in a lot of ways, because I feel like what makes this exceptional is the fact that this is really the culmination of Guillermo Del Toro's entire life. Not just like his filmography, but his whole life genuinely has felt like it's been leading to this moment. And I feel like he takes a lot. He says he takes main inspiration from the novel, less so than the films, and I like that. What I found interesting though is you, Peter, who you're more familiar with the novel,
Yes.
said to me that it's so different than the novel. And then for me, as someone who knows more so the films, which Del Toro says really were not at all really thought of when doing the story, I've personally found a lot of different like things that rhyme in Del Toro's Frankenstein with the two Monster Universal movies, which of course, I mean, I guess inevitably would happen because it is the same story, but
There's always
just
going to be
different
some overlap, yeah.
different shades to it. So it's really interesting thing to kind of put out there first and foremost. I guess your mileage may vary, but it also has a lot, in common with Del Toro's previous movie, which was Pinocchio. A story of fathers and sons, and life, and Del Toro's specialties and everything. I loved this. And I'm pretty sure we all loved this movie. Yeah, it's beautiful in an amazingly monstrous way, I guess, if you could describe that. Yeah.
This is my son. Her name is Tootsie. I loved it. I really did. I wasn't sure because it was a little mixed going in at the reception. It felt a lot of people felt that it was a little more edges smoothed out compared to the original novel, a little bit more black and white. But I think I ultimately understood what Mr. Del Toro was going for, and everything that makes Del Toro such a great director was here on display. Beautiful film. I really thought a well put together script. There's a lot of lines in there that I really loved that did not come from the book itself.
No, not at all. Great
casting. I really enjoyed Mr. Poe Dameron as the monster himself, Victor Frankenstein. And to me, the biggest takeaway, Jacob Elordi was fantastic as the creature. I think he was the standout, and it really made me go like, oh, he's great.
I must say, I feel like even for Jacob Elordi stands and non-stands alike, I mean, I think all of us, I mean, we're not like huge fans. We're like, oh yeah, he's an actor, he's good, with what little we know of him. But I feel like no matter if you're a fan of his or not, I feel like this was kind of a revelation. Because I don't think this was a performance any of us thought he could do. I genuinely, this is so good. So good. I mean, look, go David.
What he did here was kind of what should have happened with Paul Mescal, how we were saying. Because I've seen Euphoria and I've seen him in Saltburn, and I would say performance-wise, it's kind of the same. Kind of how we were saying with Paul Mescal.
He's playing the popular guy.
Yeah, and so, but
he's got that charm for sure.
But you see him in this, and it's incomparable. It's almost like I'm seeing him for the first time. Like, whoa, it's like, where'd you come from? It's like, no, he's been in other things, but he's a fucking standout in this. And I mentioned it in the last episode, but yeah, well, you said it, Alexis, how Guillermo Del Toro was looking for someone who, like, act with his eyes. Basically, that was supposed to be the standout within the character, and yeah, that was really the standout from his performance. Just something about his eyes that like just showed a lot, or did a lot for his character and for his performance. Yeah, he was a standout.
Amazing craft work as well. I really have enjoyed, I haven't seen too much of the behind the scenes stuff, but I love the fact that whenever Guillermo makes a movie, we have actual sets that look incredible. And we also have amazing, craft work being done with like that horror, that really nightmare fuel guardian angel. They actually made one. And can we just like the whole look of Jacob Elordi's creature character? Come on.
Mm-hmm. No,
That's just and I mean I'm curious. Peter, was the design for the creature close to what was in the novel, or completely different?
There's a lot of sparse details on both the creation and the visual appearance.
In the actual
long-
novel?
Yeah, long black hair, yellow skin, black lips. Those are like the main signifiers. How the creature was created. Grave robbing was one of the it was mentioned, but like the whole process, it's kind of skipped over intentionally. Very vague, left very vague. Yeah, I would say in a lot of ways he does look very similar to what's described. Certainly more than the classic Universal James Whale.
Boris Karloff.
Yeah, the Boris Karloff version. But I really dug the design. I really, really liked it. He talks about how Guillermo Del Toro talks about how he didn't like the idea of having stitches because he felt that Victor Frankenstein was like an obsessive compulsive, and he wanted to create something beautiful.
The High Evolutionary.
He would want to develop something that didn't leave stitches. So he developed a technique that didn't leave visible lines, basically. And I think the blue skin works really well. The dead white blue skin, the long hair, black hair. It is that ultimate thing of like, it's disturbing and monstrous, but also beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's something that you want with the creature. It needs to work on those both fronts. And I think it has like that perfect balance in that way. And yeah, you can, I always want to feel like you can piece together that it was made from the parts of many. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you'll see the creature and it has like a couple scars, but it's like, it looks like one dude that just kind of got bashed up a bit. And I think Guillermo del Toro specifically said, I didn't want it to look just like a motor vehicle accident victim, something like that. He wanted it to look like it was sculpted, it was made by an artist to be beautiful. And I think it works. I think it's a fantastic design for the creature. And again, I think it works because of Jacob Elordi. Like I said, his performance was, it really, really sells it.
No, completely. Just, and I feel like it kind of even gets better throughout the movie, especially when he starts to speak. Even by the time we get to the end of the film, I'm like, oh God, the power behind the words that he's. I mean, good God, Del Toro doesn't get enough credit for being a screenwriter as he does being a director. The lines, man, that he's just dropping throughout the film by various different people, I feel are highly resonant with the nature of relationships today, and just also where we are today. And for my money, I really enjoyed all of the ensemble. Oscar Isaac was, I don't know, with his accent, of course, was funny, but great asshole here. Loved Mia Goth.
You know what's funny? Mia Goth is great in it, but her British accent sounds like an American doing a fake British accent.
Despite it being her actual voice.
And she is British.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for half the film, I was like, oh yeah, Mia Goth's American, right? No, she's British. It's just her accent sounds like an American doing a British accent.
Mm.
But no, she's great. She's really good in the film. Like I said, I do understand the certain level of criticism as far as the black and white issue. Like at one point, a character literally tells Victor Frankenstein, "You are the monster," and it's like, you didn't need it. You didn't need it. You didn't need it.
Kind of disagree. I did cringe at it the first time I heard it, but then the more I thought about it, the more I was kind of like, well, this is kind of like something that was built up in a sense. Like everyone just knows how much of a horrible person Victor Frankenstein is, and I think for the brother himself, who probably looks up to him, who wants to be family with him. Mm-hmm. And the moment where everything's going to be left behind, his whole pursuit of bringing people back to life is going to be done with. It all goes to shit. Like, the thing that he created comes back to literally haunt them. And not only does it kill him, but it kills his wife. And it's sort of like, I think it's barely deserved for him to say that. And so I didn't mind it, especially on second viewing.
It's not that I don't think he should have told him something. I think him telling him that, like, I always feared you. Like that stuff is enough, I think. Especially because I do feel like the rest of the movie is shouting that already that he is the monster. Mm-hmm. I don't think it needed him to literally say it. I think he could have said something else that.
I really don't think it's that big of an issue to be talking about this for more than 2 minutes. I don't. I mean, look, if we're gonna be harping over that one moment, I'm like, yeah, but like, I agree with David here. It's like,
it's a big emotional moment. I think it's worth discussion. It's the culmination of two characters' entire relationship.
I just didn't like how some people made it a big deal. Like, they were really criticizing that moment, being like, just almost like took them out of it, and they really took off like a lot of points basically from the movie. It's like, it's not that bad. Calm down. And like I said, the more I kept thinking about it, the more I'm like, I actually like the line there.
I think it's in tandem with the fact that within the novel, the monster knowingly kills his brother. Mm-hmm. That was the first death. He kills his brother. And then that's when he goes to Victor and he's like, make me a companion. And he starts to do it, but then he's like, no, fuck this, never mind. And then the monster literally lets him know, like, hey, on your wedding day, I'm gonna pay you a visit. And that's the thing, it wasn't his brother's wedding day, it was his wedding day. And then, on his wedding day, he goes and he kills his wife, the monster. And he's, there was more of a edge to the monster, I guess you could say. And I think a lot of people wanted to see that. Although it's funny because a lot of people say, well, Victor Frankenstein was more, sympathetic within the novel. Somewhat yes, somewhat no. Because by the end of the novel, he doesn't learn shit. He's still telling the ship crew, like, you gotta keep going, man. You gotta You got to see the end of the world. You got to make it to the Arctic. After fucking everything, he's still like, no, man, you gotta give up everything for it. So it's like you could argue he's actually a little bit more sympathetic within the film because he's telling them like, no, like I've been down your path and it's fucking, misery is what you seek. So I did think that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I think by the ending, just by how different the ending is, I think it's very clear from the beginning Guillermo Del Toro set out to tell a different version of the same story. Because the ending is very bleak, he doesn't find him alive, he finds him already dead, and he sits down and weeps at the fact that despite his hatred and him seemingly setting out to kill him, he wasn't really setting out to kill him because he felt like this was the only person who could ever love him, his father, and the last person who could ever love him was dead, who would ever understand him. And it's kind of implied that he kills himself soon after the book ends, and that's it. Whereas this is very different. It's about receiving that forgiveness and choosing life. So for me, the changes aren't as big a deal because it's very clearly, like I said, set out to be a different version of the book, and with different thematic priorities, I would say, which ultimately I think work. But yeah, I really loved it. That Del Toro, he's something of a filmmaker, I would say.
Yeah, he really is, and he is. I think to me, and I hear a lot of talk from a lot of the channels I see about how beloved he is by certain I guess factions of the awards guilds and everything, and they do include his films in a lot of nominations here and there, like Nightmare Alley and Pinocchio, and for sure Frankenstein. I think, yes.
If you want to talk about a film that was falsely maligned, is Nightmare Alley.
Oh yeah,
I think that's one of his. That one I think was dumped on. That was one of his best films. That was a fantastic film.
I don't remember it being dumped on. I just remember it being ignored.
I guess same thing, right? To me,
like were there? Well, I guess when I hear dumped on, I hear of it got like
a lot of it was just like
negative.
It was boring, and it's like what?
Yeah.
What?
It's like the best performance of fucking Rocket Raccoon's career. Fucking.
Those are
I know.
It's definitely top 3 movies of his. That one,
I think
Frankenstein and Pan's Labyrinth are like top 3. I can't.
Have you seen his other 2 Spanish language films?
No.
Kronos and The Devil's Backbone.
No, I haven't seen those yet.
Definitely watch those. Those might be your top 3 right there. Those are really good.
As I was saying, to my point, because I was saying I find it humorous how he does have factions of supporters across the different guilds, but it never seems to. I think he's beloved, but every time we get to serious conversations, I mean, it could very well be because he's already won, so it doesn't really matter as much, right? But like when it comes to Best Director. And I can understand some years being competitive. Like, okay, when Nightmare Alley came out, I can understand it. Like, okay, nobody watched it, so he's not going to be brought up for a serious nomination for Best Director. Everybody's watching Frankenstein. It's doing great numbers on Netflix, and this is so good. And how is he not in the conversation for Best Director? And I'll put the onus again on these people with these damn podcasts who claim, I talked to the voters yesterday. There was far more serious conversation, not so much now because the movie opened, but for months, of John Chu being in the conversation for a nomination for Best Director, but not Guillermo del Toro, that's where I get pissed off. Because it's not enough that like Del Toro, he doesn't deserve a nomination outright, obviously. You know, nobody does. But I'm like, why is he just not in the conversation for Best Director?
Yeah, it only ever lined up for him really mostly once, which was with The Shape of Water.
Shape of Water, and that was it. I mean, he did win an Oscar last time for Pinocchio, but that's not director.
Yeah, that's different. That was anime.
So yeah, any other thoughts?
No.
I need a Criterion release before
Same.
the end of 2026.
Oh, hold on to your britches, man. I'm still waiting for Glass Onion and Wake Up Dead Man to get any kind of physical media release, which will never
Imagine
happen.
A Criterion
So-
release of those two.
Actually, Alice showed me yesterday Criterion for Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I
Yeah.
really want it.
No, it looks great.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic.
So yeah, I'm really curious to see ultimately how Frankenstein performs, and if maybe there's any truth to. I mean, I'll see it when I believe it, but I highly doubt they would include Jacob Elordi for a Best Supporting Actor nomination. I mean, if they do, that would be interesting, but like, I mean, we'll see about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we can go ahead and move on to the grand finale of today's podcast. This next film is honestly one that has been long anticipated. It was something that was announced, I believe, way back in 2020, 2021, and now we're in 2025. This marks the completion of Rian Johnson's Netflix deal to do 2 sequels to Knives Out, and here we are.
Wake Up Dead Man, directed by Rian Johnson. He works in mysterious ways. When young priest Judd Duplicity is sent to assist charismatic firebrand Monsignor Jefferson Wicks, it's clear that all is not well in the pews. After a sudden and seemingly impossible murder rocks the town, the lack of an obvious suspect prompts local police chief Geraldine Scott to join forces with renowned detective Benoit Blanc to unravel a mystery that defies all logic. That's funny. They make it seem like the police detective is like working with like the second to Benoit, when it's very much Judd Duplicity. That's funny. Anyway, starring Daniel Craig, Josh O'Connor, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Andrew Scott, Kaylee Spaney, Daryl McCormick, Thomas Hayden Church, Jeffrey Wright, and of course, last but certainly not least, Noah Segan. Oh, and apparently Joseph Gordon-Levitt was the baseball announcer. Wake Up Dead Man. David, how did you feel about Wake Up Dead Man, a Star Wars story?
I really liked it. We mentioned it after we, as soon as we left the theater. In terms of the whole cast dynamic, it felt the weakest. But the more I think about it, the more like just Josh O'Connor is such a standout that it's really hard to like decide like, okay, which one is my favorite out of all of them, because like him alone just absolutely sells the movie. I loved his character. Like I said many times, like religion is just not my thing. But I like the moments of him when he gets to be a priest, he gets to help people. And those were for sure standouts. And I always love seeing Daniel Craig, the Benoit Blanc character. He's just so fun in this role. I'm really glad he got this one. Other people don't see him as the James Bond character.
Benoit Blanc.
Yeah, but the investigation itself, very interesting. I really liked it. The whole, like how the heck did this thing get pulled off and all that. I liked the mystery of it all. But again, when it came to the revelation of everything, it dragged out a little bit, and
it was I think the most complicated murder,
for sure,
which says a lot.
Yeah,
for these films.
But yeah, this is still a fun movie. I'm glad we got great trilogy in this, and Josh O'Connor.
I don't even want to call it a trilogy because that
there's a through
that
line.
implies that it's over.
Oh, okay.
I want 20 of these.
It also implies that we're talking about Back to the Future Part 1, 2, Part 3, Avatar 1, 2, 3, Pirates 1, 2, 3. Like if it's one long continuous story, and it very much it's not really a trilogy. It's an anthology series. Really, you have one through line with one character. And ultimately, I feel like all of us can come to the agreement, and I feel it's just a generally agreed upon thing that's what kind of makes these work. And I feel ultimately that's what we really kind of knew it would work out. I feel like, generally speaking, all of us are pretty good at seeing a mile away how something is going to do for the most part. Of course, there are blind spots. But when it was announced that Rian Johnson was going to do not one but two more movies in this series of murder mysteries with Benoit Blanc, we were all like, wow, this is some of the best news we've ever gotten, because we just know they're going to be freaking amazing. Why? Because it's Rian Johnson doing them. It's writing them and he's directing them. Had this been with somebody else, I would have been like, no, thank you. Cancel the movie. I do not care. I'm not interested.
It's such a genuine director-actor duo that you just don't see much of anymore, where it's like there really are the two halves that make the recipe perfect.
Yes, and Ryan, he's obviously been asked, and both he and Daniel have said that, look, if we continue to be on good terms as we are about where we're taking the character, we're going to keep making more of these, but if there's ever a moment where we both feel like, okay, it's time to stop, then we'll stop. And I feel like that's rarely what guides a lot of Hollywood decisions these days, which ultimately is why we arrive at pointless sequels, remakes, spin-offs of all sort that are really kind of odious at this point, with how inundated we are of a spin-off to the spin-off of the spin-off kind of era that we're living in. How novel is it for creators to have that kind of an idea? Genuinely, just so happy when artists are able to have significant backing, and where they're actually creating something truly special, but it's completely and wholly theirs and not at all compromised by the financial backing of it. Like James Cameron, for instance, he can do whatever the hell he wants, and it ends up being completely and wholly his, and the studio has no say, evidently. I mean, they have a say, but he's like, fuck them.
He tells them to go fuck themselves, and they're like, you're right, Mr. Cameron, we're sorry, Mr. Cameron.
Although the one thing where, obviously, look, these movies were all Ryan's, but I lament, and I would encourage him to go back to Lionsgate. That way these movies can actually be in fucking theaters, because Glass Onion and Wake Up Dead Man are so good. They should have been in theaters, and Netflix fucked it up 2 times now.
When it came to the Netflix deal, one, I think he went straight for the money, which, I mean, I get it.
$300 million.
Insane payout for both him and Daniel Craig. Which I'm sure Daniel Craig's like, yeah, give me the fucking money, right? Like, I'm sure he had a say in this too. Like, get the money. But also, I'm sure nothing was set in stone, but Netflix was like, oh, well, for sure we'll work out something where it's in theaters and da-da-da-da-da. And they have, like, the most shitty, like, fucking 2-week in some random fucking theater, and then it's gone forever.
None of the major chains are showing Wake Up Dead Man. Not Cinemark, not Regal, not AMC.
Yeah.
Then who the fuck
And-
is at that point?
I think following this Netflix deal, they already got the payout. I think if they make another one, when they make another one, they'll definitely look for sure money, but a real promise for theatrical. I think that's gonna be top of the line with their next deal, wherever they take it. And like you said, one of the cool things about these films is just depending on how they feel, they can pop out 2 in a year, or they can take a long break and be like, yeah, like we kind of feel a little burned out on these characters. We're gonna take a hiatus, do some other things, and creatively, when we feel that like there's a spark of something new we wanna say, we wanna make, then we can come back and make another one. And that's what's really cool, because a lot of these other franchises, it's like we need to pump them out. We need to pump them out now, especially because it's like we have children in the cast, and like everything's very like age specific, so we got to make them now.
Yeah.
And so
Tell that to Stranger Things.
yeah, yeah. That's one of the ones I was thinking of. Or it's like we're telling this one drawn out story, and it requires that we tell the next part now, and da 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 da. Whereas with these, it's like Benoit. You could have Benoit the age of fucking what's his name in the first one,
Harlan.
Harland. He could be the age of Harland and doing these. You know what I mean? Like there's no, it don't matter, right? You don't need to do one. There wasn't a necessity to do one in 6 months or a year from now, or even 10 years from now. The only drive that has to be there is creativity, which is really awesome and unique situation for any franchise to be in. But it just always makes me excited, because I know when they make another one, it's because Rian had a good fucking script that he wanted to write and direct and make. But as far as my feelings in this film, it's really fucking good. I really loved it. Every time I finish watching one of these Knives Out, which it still, I get it, believe me, I get it, but it still irks me to this day, because it should be called a Benoit Blanc mystery, not a Knives Out mystery.
I think history is proving you're right. I mean, like he's on Sesame Street now. That just tells you the cultural impact of this
Beignet
character.
Blanc.
I think also this is what we mean, by the way, not to hijack the floor from you.
No,
Diane,
continue,
doing that
yeah.
just now.
Mhm.
But this is what we mean by cultural impact of a truly great piece of art and work film like Knives Out and Glass Onion, and of course now Wake Up Dead Man, because especially because look, all these years later, this character is an original property by Rian Johnson, and now people know Benoit Blanc. It's just in the cultural zeitgeist now. Whereas just today, I was listening to an awards podcast talk about how, for a couple of days there, because of initial reactions, they were like, oh, Zootopia 2 is getting a lot of, high praise. Maybe it can challenge K-pop Demon Hunters for Best Animated Feature. And then they were saying, well, that was that, and I hear no one talk about the movie. The same way you hear no one talk about Moana 2. The same way you hear no one talk about the majority of all of these lame sequels that Disney makes. They're the poster boys for making lame sequels that everybody pays money to go see. They make $1 billion a piece, but because they're made so disposably, they have no staying power. Whereas, I mean, look at how much of an impression that initial movie made in November 2019, Knives Out, that Netflix was like, see, they swooped in there and they dropped $300 million to make not one, but 2 sequels. I mean, that's incredible. And that's what we mean. The difference between, just because the films are the most successful from a monetary standpoint, like Lilo and Stitch remake, Zootopia 2, Moana 2, Inside Out 2. We're not even a year, I think, removed, a year and a half from Inside Out 2 or Moana 2. No one talks about these
No one
movies.
gives a shit.
Ever. No one ever brings these movies up.
Also, and we've talked about this before, I love original big films, which are just extinct now, almost, it feels like. So whenever, like you said, we get modern day original new cultural icons, that's so cool. It's just cool. Like, to me, the only ones I can think of off the top of my head are like Benoit Blanc, John Wick, and like that's it. Like I'm trying to think of like a cultural mainstay sort of new original character introduced through film that sort of had that staying power in that way.
Not Jake Sully. I'm kidding. I mean,
Well,
I mean, that franchise, though, it's the planet itself.
it
that's
ain't the
more-
character.
Yeah,
it's
it ain't the
Pandora
characters. It's
itself.
Pandora.
That's
Yeah.
kind of Pandora is the main character.
Mm-hmm.
But no, yeah. Can you guys even think of another one? Because I'm like straining my brain. I really can't
I mean,
in that way.
not really characters, but I know there are certain movies that'll be pretty impactful, like Everything Everywhere All
Like-
at Once, and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I would say
it's hard
that
to say
did have,
which like
cultural.
a character.
I mean,
that's a standout.
I don't know if
that.
you want to consider original animated characters, because those can blow up pretty bigly as well.
Yeah. I
Like
get
Anna
that.
and Elsa, you know,
Oh, for sure.
that
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
a
yeah.
huge thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And this year, the K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah. Oh my god. For sure that one as well. Yeah. No, for sure. When it comes to animated, well, they still make original animated films sometimes.
Mhm.
I guess.
Sometimes,
I would say.
yeah.
Sometimes. I guess I wasn't thinking entirely of anime.
Well,
was
I
thinking
guess
more like
I mean,
live
look,
action.
I guess Inside Out and Zootopia, those characters were successful enough where they got sequels. So I guess you could say those.
I mean,
you
it's,
know.
No,
it's,
yeah.
it's easier
Yeah.
for animation because that's kids are mainly
Yeah.
the ones rewatching
thinking
those
live
over and
action.
over, and the toys with it that comes with it. It's easier for it to be a cultural.
There's
mainstay.
a marketing incentive to never let them die ever.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
but when it comes to live action, we got, if you go back to the 80s, I mean, you got any Arnold Schwarzenegger character that's a cultural icon with Predator and Terminator and all that. But
Mhm.
in terms of like our time, yeah, that's really hard to say. John Wick and Benoit seems to be the standout. At least for
Those are,
original.
like the main ones. Yeah.
And then
Well,
it's also kind of funny to say that because like we have action actors, but they're not really much of a standout. They're not anywhere near like Arnold.
Yeah.
'cause I can't really think of one for what's his name, Dwayne Johnson's like whatever character he's played before.
Oh god, we've talked about that where
Yeah.
it's like he's considered the biggest movie star and he just makes crap.
Mhm.
But like Rocky Balboa, Rambo, Ripley from the original Aliens,
Leia.
there are like cultural icons, that have been created in the past through film. And I don't know, it's even Doc Brown and Marty, Back to the Future. Great Scott, like those are cultural mainstays. And that just doesn't happen near to the same degree. Obviously, because big not independent, but big original films are a dime a dozen nowadays. But that's just another reason to just adore this Knives Out series. Again, I think what I really love about Wake Up Dead Man, it does cement the like mainstay of these films, and I think the love that people have for these films. Josh, I wanted to say Josh Hutcherson, Uh,
No, he'll be out this week with Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Okay, another cultural mainstay, unironically. John O'Connor, not John O'Connor. What's his name?
Josh O'Connor.
Josh O'Connor. Sorry, I have a thing about the Irish. Their names.
You have a thing about names.
I have a thing about words. Leave me alone.
Yeah, clearly.
Josh O'Connor is fantastic as the lead in this. He's really, really good. You really just have such a love for his character and his plight and everything he's sort of setting out trying to do and the opposition he faces. Everything with that is fantastic. Some people had some criticisms for the ensemble. Me, much less so. To a certain extent, I kind of understand it for sure. It's less group interaction for sure compared to the first two films. But I really enjoyed each and every character. I think they all had their own quirks and interesting story character goals and purposes. And all the actors did a wonderful job. The directing is, of course, top notch. Visually, really good. I think it can get lost in the sauce of the way people love these films. But we were rewatching, me and Alexis, just
Knives
a
Out.
portion of Knives Out. And man, you forget, these films are just visually really well made. They're beautifully put together films. Like,
It is the
so
director
good.
of The Last Jedi, so of course they're going to be visually very well made.
The best looking Star Wars film, arguably
The best Star Wars movie. Inarguably.
I would say so. Not made by a certain man named George Lucas. But I love this one. I still don't know where I would rank it. I think I have a love for Glass Onion that some people view a little bit more lower in the totem pole, like as far as these films. But I guess that's what makes it a little hard for me, because I do really, really enjoy Glass Onion. But I think I would agree with most people that it's maybe the second best of the Knives Out films.
There are there's a faction of individuals that have actually responded so significantly toward Wake Up Dead Man that they called it easily the best of the three. So there's an interest, and I feel ultimately,
But that's
look,
cool. Yeah,
I think that's
like
a
that.
win-win-win, right? I
Oh,
think
yeah, for
ultimately
sure.
that's what you want. I feel that if we ended up having a reality in which, like, we enjoyed Glass Onion and we enjoyed Wake Up Dead Man, but they were so clearly inferior to Knives Out, it would be kind of a deflating experience and a very depressing conversation. And I do feel like every movie in this trilogy of anthologies, anthology, I don't know what you want to call it, but every
these
one of these
mysteries.
movies have their merits. And I feel like, I think it's mission accomplished from the standpoint of, like, they're all very different and they're all kind of going for different things. And that makes them, while they're all very much centered and structured around mysteries, different movies. Of course, there are some thematic commonalities between all of them for sure, not just with Benoit Blanc, obviously, but I feel like what you would want in a healthy franchise is for a fan base to point to different movies as, like, no, this is the one, or that is the one. You know, for me, I think Peter and I, maybe David feels this way too, who knows, but it's difficult because the first Knives Out was so special, is and remains so special, and I feel what makes it even more special is, like, that particular cast was, like, unbelievably perfect. The characters that they play and the interactions that they have, even the setting of, like, the house, the Thrombey family home. I mean, it's hard to ever top that, but I also am of the mind that we shouldn't you know, judge the following, entries to the weight of those massive expectations. Um, but clearly, I think Rian Johnson under, understood the assignment here, that in order for this to work, needed to approach each of these entries very differently. And I walked out of this movie feeling, I liked it obviously a lot. And I realized that this was going to be a movie that I was going to be percolating in my mind for a couple of days, and it has been. And what clicked immediately was like, yes, one of the things you can take away with is like there wasn't as much, I guess, quote unquote, entertainment or enjoyment with the, I guess, the ensemble interactions, but that also just speaks to what are you really here for, right? And for me, I don't necessarily consider it a knock on this movie that the ensemble, I guess, wasn't as entertaining as the first or the second one, because I feel that that was a choice made intentionally. I think not that these characters are not interesting, not that they're not, full of life. I think they're just clearly this film, this third movie, there were a lot of notable differences. For one, Benoit Blanc doesn't appear really. I mean, there's the first shot where he's reading the letter, but he doesn't come in until 40 minutes into the film. Overall, it is Benoit Blanc, but he definitely feels a bit more toned down because, unlike Glass Onion, I feel like Knives Out kind of had a really good combination of it feeling like a mystery drama, but then also with plenty of humor. Glass Onion feels much more like a comedy, because it really emphasized a lot more of that heightened, I guess, reality, if you will. And then this one feels a lot more like a drama, because it talks about very serious subjects, and at its core is about Judd Duplancy, who is not necessarily, I don't know if you can call it a crisis of faith, but it definitely is ultimately about, spirituality, about religion and the role that it plays. And ultimately, this film, more than just a murder mystery, is, I guess you can call it the devil and the angel in Ryan's head. He does come from a Catholic background. The three of us come from a Catholic background. I mean, I want to say,
why? Because we're Mexican.
We've all talked about this. This is what
Racist.
Our experiences have been. Okay, so let's don't ruin me when I'm on a roll. So you're gonna make me just discombobulate. The whole point is, there's a lot of complex, really interesting, rich stuff that this movie is just a conversation of the two halves of Ryan going over, the merits of religion versus the kind of toxic individuals that come out of the institution that can really kind of poison humanity overall, which really goes against a lot of what, this religion is, supposed to be about. So there's a lot of really huge things that this movie is speaking to. And all of the characters that come in and out of the movie, I feel, are in service of that. And obviously, it is anchored by an extraordinary character in Judd Duplancy, where you really do get to spend time with him for a lot of that first hour. And this is really his movie in the same way, maybe in a better way, because I feel like he's much more the main character here, even more so than the other co-leads, obviously. But with Knives Out, it very much is Marta Cabrera's movie. However, I do feel the main show in Glass Onion is Benoit Blanc. Even though it is supposed to be Helen, I feel like it partly is Helen's movie. It still ultimately feels like Benoit Blanc's movie at the end of the day with Glass Onion.
I think it comes down to like the structuring, which he loves to play with the structure in each films, and
which is great,
which is fun and great, and I think it leads to different experiences with each film that makes them feel worth coming back to in their own right. Which is the first one, you start with him, but then he kind of pulls back almost entirely, and then you're with Marta through all of the third, and then he comes back into focus in the finale, which is interesting. And then the second one, yeah, you're with him. It's kind of the opposite of the Wake Up Dead Man with Glass Onion, where you're with him for like the first 40 minutes, and then it kind of we bring it in focus on
Helen.
what's her name? Helen, right? Which with this one is the opposite. We're with
Judd. Father
Josh
Judd.
Hutcherson for the first 40 minutes, and then enter Benoit Blanc. So I to me, the real answer is with these stories, you might get a lot of Benoit Blanc, or you might get just a touch of Benoit Blanc. The whole point is the stories aren't his necessarily.
Right.
They are these other people's, and he kind of weaves in and out of these tales as the detective, right? And he comes in, and he, like a guardian angel, comes in and provides help to solve these mysteries. But he's never, however much you get of him, it's never the right or wrong amount. It's just the amount that happens to be for this story, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool because it leads to different cinematic experiences.
And we should say that maybe, I hadn't thought of it that way, but you are right. I guess when you think about the structure of the three films, he kind of comes in and out in very different spots throughout all the films. And I feel like because we're in the third of these, and he's like the character everybody knows, you do feel the absence of him for a whole 40 minutes. And that's but after you kind of like realize what, how it's going to be, and then, you kind of, it is what it is, right? It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I like especially how he's used in this movie, because I feel like, unlike the other times, because of the nature of, Judd being, a priest and this being the church, there are moments where you see Blanc kind of not get frazzled, but just kind of like hit a wall. With Father Judd, with the whole aspect of the spirituality, right?
He doesn't get him. His way of thinking.
It reminds me of what Peter would call a not very good show, Star Wars Rebels. But it reminds me of this moment in the season 3 finale where Grand Admiral Thrawn is able to defeat the Bendu. And I want to say there was an excerpt of a book somewhere that was a continuation of that scene, but where I think Thrawn was just so baffled by the whole ordeal, because like I think he refers to the Force as an enigma to him. He just has no idea what to make of it, and it kind of makes that dynamic, I think, is very much in here. But I think that's what kind of makes it so rich, right? It's because you have such different personalities, and they're not necessarily coming to blows, but they do sometimes, because they really, it's like when the rubber meets the road kind of situation.
Yeah, they create friction, I think is the correct terminology.
Basically. And what it's just really, it's a new, I think, experience to see Benoit Blanc meet up against that. It creates a new dynamic, and I also really do appreciate how, and again, these movies are not about him, but as a character throughout these movies, you learn a lot about him that isn't explicitly said. They just show you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate, especially that whole finale, where I myself was like, wait, what? You're not going to give me the thing that I came here to see? But then they kind of twist it around, and I actually, no, this actually works a lot better than because it would have, if it had been, okay, here's the part where I break everything down. Well, we've seen that already. Mm-hmm. And it would have just been the same thing again. So I like how they twisted it around, and it made it much more of an emotional reveal because of how they lay it out at the finale. I do agree that the mystery is the most complex of the three, and I agree with you, Peter. It is saying a lot to say just that. But still, though, despite it being the most complex, and you can feel it in the room when you're watching the film, as we did together, this movie just had people from the beginning all the way to the end. And it's always fun to hear like the gasps or like the no ways of like certain reveals that happen. Genuine, and of course, I mean, you really do feel for. I mean, this is really Josh O'Connor's movie, and I'm so grateful for that. And I also should say, there's a lot that's been, a lot of people are focusing on like the ensemble overall, but I don't think not enough is being said of individual performances. I really love Josh Brolin and Glenn Close in this movie. They definitely
both
deserve
really good.
their flowers in this movie as well.
I forget it's Brolin
Right.
sometimes.
I mean, he's really good in this. And I have to say, Daryl McCormick, he probably plays the single most grotesque and loathsome individual yet in this series. And I have to say, that too is saying quite a lot.
That's saying a bit.
You know everything you need to know about him from his first scene where he kind of like is this failed right-wing dipshit politician who's just there. He's just this empty vessel there to just like seek power. And yeah.
Throwing it out there.
Disgusting creature.
Throwing it out there. Next Knives Out. I think we take it mobile. I think we do the classic on a trip somewhere and then someone dies. Maybe a train, maybe a boat, maybe a plane.
Can it have Meryl Streep?
Yes. She's the pilot.
That'd be cool.
Here's I want to read an excerpt here from it's not going to be too long. It'll be quick. Houston Coley, who is a really interesting individual because he is very Christian, but Christian in the sense that how I would like to see Christians is not so much like,
True
adherence.
Christianity.
Well, it's just he's one of the ones where I would feel he's very left wing. When I mean like left wing, very humanist. And
that's why I say true Christianity.
Yeah, there's okay. So I didn't hear that part. I apologize.
Actually follows the teachings of Christ.
He says this in his review. It is easily the densest movie thematically that Rian has made since The Last Jedi. And the two actually have a lot in common, namely wrestling with the negative consequences of broken institutions while simultaneously resurrecting the potentially transcendent and transformative power of believing in their foundational myths. I profoundly resonated with Josh O'Connor's Father Judd, the purity of his faith, his frustration and the distortion of it, and the desire for things to be done better. The acknowledgement that this is an inescapable part of his purpose and lens of viewing reality. Even the yearning for imperfect members of his community to be known and given the care they need rather than false solutions. And the way Judd and Blanc play off one another brings out nothing but riveting thematic foil. This is Benoit Blanc at his most dynamic, challenged not necessarily just by the impossibility of the case, but by what it confronts about who he is and how he engages the world. Blanc's intellect and perception to arrive unerringly at the truth. But this film posits, what if truth is not enough? With Glass Onion, while Glass Onion was just as technically stellar as Knives Out, I did feel that it lacked the kind heart of the original, carried primarily by the relationships of Marta and Harlan, and Marta and Blanc, and instead opted for pure satire above all. What Onion lacked in human emotion, though, Wake Up Dead Man makes up in spades. I found myself crying several times and subsequently consoling a friend in the movie theater lobby as she full-on sobbed about the brokenness of the church and all the ways it has excluded instead of welcomed. Yeah.
No, I read his review too on the greatest app ever made, Letterboxd.
Letterboxd. There's a longer one that I read yesterday. It was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love his reviews because he puts a lot of thought and meaning into them.
He had an amazing review of Furiosa. It was like 5 pages. I don't know, 5 pages long. I don't know, but it was incredible.
No, it's like, thank God someone on the site takes these reviews seriously.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. I recommend anyone check out anything of his because he has an opinion worth contemplating and reading and listening to. It's really interesting. No, that was he did a fantastic review, I thought, for Wake Up Dead Men. And then we haven't talked much about like the religious intertwinings of the film, but I thought they handled it beautifully within the film.
What's really interesting is I don't know if you guys watched the clip that I sent yesterday or the day before. I thought it was to speak on what you were saying, right? We all know Grace Randolph, obviously, not personally, but watching videos and everything.
She's my best friend.
Yeah, obviously. By the way, I still laugh sometimes when David legitimately thought that you were saying that she was dating Jason Momoa that one time. That was so funny.
I could see it. I could see her on the
David. You confused. So
on the carpet.
Peter was talking about how the actress that plays Bix on Andor is dating Jason Momoa, and you thought Grace Randolph was the one that was dating Jason Momoa, and you called that out. You have the memory of that moment?
I can see it happening where I just probably got confused.
Okay. All right. It's interesting. Anyway, she was saying something along the lines of how the mystery itself and the convolutedness of the mystery was really tied into a lot of these religious questions, and that how it really made her feel unsure about what to feel or how to feel. And then at the end of the clip, she was like, maybe this was much better written than I thought.
Grace is great. She's very funny in that way. Because sometimes she'll start a review and she'll talk about it and she's like, yeah, I think I like it a little bit more. Or she'll be like, oh man, I think I don't really like this film. It's funny to see that process. But no, like that's why I got afraid for a second they just weren't gonna reveal the mystery. It was gonna kind of go along thematically with like the religious conversation. Like, yeah,
I got scared about that too. I was like, oh wait a minute, are we not gonna know what happened here?
A part of me was like, no, fuck that. You tell me what happened. Like, no, let's not play this game. And they didn't, which is good because the reveal, it worked well. It worked so well. Again, thematically, character-wise,
emotionally too.
Emotionally, there was a couple of genuinely, really, really well done emotional moments within the film.
A lot of people talk about the scene with the phone call.
Yeah,
one that they point to.
That one worked really well.
Like I said, every time Josh O'Connor got to be a priest, got to do something about his religion.
I love how simultaneously it feels like the movie stops to have these conversations, and yet that is what the movie is. More so at times than the actual mystery. Like the whole the whole first real scene that Benoit Blanc has when he enters the movie, that conversation he has with the that might be the movie for me, really. That was an amazing way to just, and not just to have this, I guess, exchange of ideas of this religion, but then also with the lighting that happened in the background.
Yeah. I can understand some people might think that that's too on the nose how the lighting changes, but I still love it. I thought that was a really interesting purpose. To do, and thematic purpose, and it makes sense because they did show that the town is very cloudy, and that even happens within our town, or I mean just anywhere. But I mainly noticed it when in our town that we lived on, how Tatooine, I like whenever the cloud just covers the sun, it just completely changes, the view, and it reminded me of that for sure. But yeah, I love those moments where it went gray and then all of a sudden, light comes in. You once it happens the second time, you clearly know like, oh, okay, something's gonna happen. Joshua Connor's gonna do something.
Yeah.
Be a priest.
I really do love Daniel Craig's performance in this because I feel like, again, what is so magical about this Benoit Blanc is that they really do, they show you what you need to know. They don't really tell you, but they really are telling you what a kind person he really is. Like even just the sympathy and compassion he felt after after Judd breaks down in tears, like this is the first time I felt like an actual priest in a long time, and he kind of looks at him and he knows then and there he's not guilty.
He didn't do it. Yeah, it's a different kind of guilt that he carries.
I mean, I mentioned it with you guys, but what I really like about Benoit Blanc is that he solves the mysteries not by the evidence, but just by the character of whoever he's talking to. If he knows someone's not guilty, he's not gonna really much pursue it, which is what happens in the first one. He has like very clear evidence, like this person is a part of the crime, but after that first conversation,
he could tell what kind of person they were. So he didn't like zero in on her and was like, you did it, didn't you? It wasn't that. Like,
if it was
the evidence points to you.
Yeah, if it was Sherlock Holmes, it's like, oh, you clearly had something to do with the crime because I see that dot, and you
fess up.
Yeah, fess up.
Whereas with him, it's like his detective skills isn't just in finding the evidence and that's it. It's pulling apart and being a good judge of character.
Mm-hmm. And
I see what you mean.
Yeah, he's answering like, why did this crime happen, more so than like, how did it happen? I think that's more of his focus.
I would also say,
go ahead, please.
As great as Benoit Blanc is, again, testament to Ryan's writing and all the other actors. I didn't spend the first 4 minutes going like, okay, well, where is he? Where's Benoit Blanc?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
I was locked.
We have a main
in
character and it's not him, and it's Judd, and Judd is so he's just so interesting off the bat. I mean, you're so sucked into the story that when Benoit walks in, you're like, oh, that's right, he is supposed to be in this movie. I forgot about that.
I could have seen just this dramedy about this priest that's like in this shitty little town, trying to make them better. You don't even need like the murder aspect to it. Like for the first 40 minutes, like I was locked into everything that was going on, and then it's like I said, enter Benoit Blanc, and it's of course you love it and you're in for the ride, but and I noticed that with other reviews too. No one is complaining like, oh my god, where is he? These aren't vehicles where it's like the only good part is Daniel Craig and you're just waiting for him to be on screen to find it interesting, the way sometimes other films
franchises
can be that
would
way.
Be for sure.
But no, it works all the way through.
Also, I look, this is a much more serious film, and it needed to be that, and I'm happy that it was. And I think to me, it's hard because like I love all three of these movies, and I love them differently. I feel like Glass Onion really appealed to me because it was just a big fuck you to so many horrid individuals that I hate in this world, and people who think like them, and I love it for that.
I think that's why it's more comedic, because if you're gonna go a little bit more cynical, you got to balance it out with more comedy. And
the comedy slaps in that movie. I mean, anything Birdie J said in that movie of like, her tribute to Beyonce, or like comparing herself to Harriet Tubman, or tweeting an ethnic slur, or her thinking sweatshops were not what they actually. I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, she's incredible, but what was missing, I do feel, from that, but it's very much here. I feel there's just so much more meaning that I get with this one on a spiritual level, and I feel that's the mark that what Ryan was setting out to do with this movie actually succeeded. And then also just but there's still humor. Like even Benoit Blanc's whole first thing when he walks into the church, like yoo-hoo, or when they're in the crypt, he's like Scooby Dooby Doo. Or to me, the moment where we all just lost it when he was literally just waiting there for everyone to show up at the church, and then he just like plays the organ really loud, just comes out of nowhere. He steps on like everyone's moment.
The Phantom of the Opera theme.
Mm-hmm. I loved when they found out that the diamond is or that the fortune is still there, and they were like, "Do you guys know anything about like Eve's apple? Like, does that have any significance for you guys?" And right behind them is the snow globe or whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
You could see it in the shop behind them, and they're like, "Nope." And then he's like, "All right, we'll let you know." And then they run back inside.
Dude, that was so good.
I mean, the one that I lost it was right before the scenes right before that where Cy Draven tells them, "Oh yeah, I recorded the whole conversation." And then like without even thinking twice, Daniel and Josh just like book it and then close the door on all the people who are like.
Not only that, but I love Benoit going he's right behind him, and when he says that, and he just goes like he's thinking, he takes him a second, like wait, close the door,
basically. So it's like, yeah, it's not as much humor, but when the humor is here, it still works very, very well. I gotta tell you. So ultimately, I feel this was a great movie. I have been thinking about it throughout the whole week. It's already climbing up in my estimation. And I do feel, regardless of how well or not this does awards wise, and I gotta tell you, the Knives Out films have been ignored by the Academy with the exception of a screenplay nomination, so I wouldn't expect anything, unfortunately, because par for the course, but God forbid we snub Wicked for good, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, ultimately, this is a series that has staying power, and this is not the last we're going to see of this series for sure. I don't know how long. We'll wait for another one, but I mean, although if this is where they leave it, amazing job, honestly. But yeah, great movie.
I agree.
All right, everybody. I think it's time to end this. I mean, the podcast. All right. I don't know what we're watching next, but whatever that
Avatar?
is. Well, I mean, for sure, Avatar and Marty Supreme are probably what's next up on the docket. I can't imagine we're going to have a review on Five Nights at Freddy's.
No, I was going to say, because it's already out in a couple of weeks. Like, it's, what do you call it? Avatar, Marty Supreme. Like, there's nothing in between.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're going to get to Zootopia or Wicked. I don't think there's really any desire among any of us to watch those. So
no. That's something I might throw on eventually as a curiosity, but with my finite time, I don't think I can run to a theater for it. Especially because everyone's already seen it anyway. You don't need my money.
No, not really. Not really at all.
Sometimes with those smaller indie films, it's like, well, you want to support it and in a theater, but it's like you don't gotta support Zootopia 2.
No, they don't need your money.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all.
By the way, this is a completely different thing, but I saw on Twitter they're sharing art that I guess they had made during pre-production for the film. That originally it was going to be more of a spy movie for Zootopia 2.
That would have worked. That would have been different.
I don't know. I just thought that was funny. I thought that was interesting.
Didn't they do
funny
that with Cars too?
I was gonna say it seems like a go-to thing for Disney to do a spy sequel.
Yeah, it would have been that different. My bad.
What they should have done it with was monsters. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair though, it works better with Zootopia since
it works a little better.
Yeah,
with
because even for
you could
me,
say like, oh, they got promotions or whatever. The
Mm.
FBI. I don't know.
They'll probably dust that off for Zootopia 3 in the future.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Toy Story 7.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't want to get into that because we'll be here for all of eternity and everything. It'll just, yeah. But no, definitely excited. Looking forward to. I'm sure Avatar is going to be something truly, truly massive, and we are hoping to watch quote unquote IMAX because we have to with that movie for sure. Because if not, what is the point of all of this? And I also want to say before we leave, I want to congratulate both David and Peter. For this, they celebrated Black Friday and they both got brand new television sets.
Oh, you did get one, Peter?
Yeah, you're
Nice.
making it sound like we had children or something.
But you, congratulations on both of you for your wonderful achievements in life. For I got to witness both of their first watches, and they were incredible pieces of television.
10 hours of labor.
Oh yeah, both of you had to like lug it up to second floors of
Mhm.
apartments, and although
Yeah. Both of ours are pretty big.
they're pretty big, and also it's interesting. You, Peter, got a Google TV,
Yeah.
and David got a Roku TV.
Yep.
I
Really
think Roku
interesting.
has the best interface. I think. I like the simplicity.
Hmm.
And I love the background. Do you stare at it?
Yeah, for sure.
I love Roku City.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us tonight. Thank you both for joining me, and thank you all for watching. And watch these movies, guys. Please watch these movies, support these movies, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.